Tottenham secure a £150 million cash injection from Daniel Levy and from Enic for both on and off-field expenditure that has to be spent this year or it's withdrawn. In other news, Tottenham are delaying the conversion of Deki Kulusevski from loan to permanent by 1 year. Eric Dyer has been omitted from the England squad, and Gareth Southgate explains why. Plus, there's transfer news, including Ivan Perisic, Filip Kostic, Jack Harrison, Gabriel Jesus, Jed Spence, and Thomas Souček, plus more. Lastly, whilst Conte is on vacation and we try to finalise a second-choice goalkeeper, are we at risk of missing out on key core targets as Chelsea, Arsenal, and United are all busy making moves? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Spurs Talk Show. Let's get it. Lovely touch from him though. Harry Kane, Lucas Moura, can you do something, please? Last chance. Last chance! Matt Doherty! Oh, you shite! There could be from the dead to the don't fuck it up now! Don't fuck it up! Go and win it! Go and win it! Go and win it! Let's go! Last chance! Stephen Bergwijn! Stephen Bergwijn's through! Win it, Stephen! Come on! Yes! Yes! He's won it! He's gonna win it! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh! We did it! Welcome! It is Tuesday. It is the 2022 version of May the 24th. And you're back here with me, Sean Butler, at the Spurs Talk Show. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. What a day to be a Spurs fan. And if you thought last week couldn't get any better, how about this one? News dropping today. Ooh, it gets me excited. It gets me excited. £150 million coming over from the boys at Enic. And we're going to talk all about that. We're going to break down the finances. We're also going to be looking at how that affects what commitments we already have. We're going to have to dig a little deep and go into the archives and find out what the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust were telling us way back in January. I don't know if you remember that. We did a show on it before. We're going to bring some of that stuff back out. We got a couple of guests. We got 3 or 4 guests that are going to be here, dropping in, dropping out. We only have 2 hours and 20 minutes to get it done. And this time it's a firm, hard close because I have to be elsewhere at 8:30. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? I'm not going to do it any more of the kind of long-winded routine of getting in, but like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, hit the notification bell. This is where you can find all of the stuff regarding transfer news and panel shows and watch-alongs next season and all that stuff. But also, this is where you can find financial analysis as best I can. Part of my background, if you didn't know. Ladies and gentlemen, let's find out who is in the chat, in the comments. Not yet. We're going to come to them last because they're the best part of the show. Let's find out who's in the panel this evening. I'm speaking too fast for my tongue. It's not catching up with me. So I apologize. Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, you know him. as a regular on this show. He's actually going to be controlling the comments this evening because I've got to go through all of the financial stuff and it's going to be crazy. I know him as the guy formerly known as the guy who had the audacity to put numbers in his name, but now he's just another person who put numbers in his name. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show. You know him as Kulasevsky, or Kuvasevsky rather. I know him as Kuva99.
Kuva99 it is. Evening, Sean. And evening chat. A lot of people in already. Good to see.
A lot of people in already. We're going to come to them in a moment and say, welcome. Before we get there, we've got a debutante on the show. This is a guy usually found in other channels, but he's often found as someone who's been doing kind of what I've been doing, which is not necessarily defending Daniel Levy. It's been critiquing the Levy out narrative and finding out whether there's holes in it and whether or not it's always justified. And today is a really fantastic day to bring him in and join forces, as hopefully today is the start of a brand new era where Daniel Levy gets a little bit more wiggle room from certain members of the Tottenham community. We'll see about that. I won't hold my breath. But ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Mr. Ian Meth.
Hi all.
How you doing, buddy?
Oh, good to be on my debut tonight. What a day to be a Spurs supporter. So we'll no doubt go through it. But, you know, when you think it was 2 weeks ago on Thursday that you and I were one of a number of people in the Hope and Pray or whatever that pub was next to the ground.
The number 8 bar, wasn't it? Yeah.
Waiting for the Arsenal game with excited trepidation. We beat Burnley, thrashed Norwich, and suddenly it's a very, very different narrative. So I think there'll be a lot of people in the in the chat listening interestedly to what we have to say. So it's going to be an interesting show.
It was great to meet you then, mate. It's great to have you on now.
Absolutely.
Long overdue. What a day. And you're right, that was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, and how things have changed in such a short period of time. Let's figure out who is in the comments, who's already joining us. We're only 5 minutes in. There's already 40 odd people. Oh, love that. Ian just going, no, not right now.
Get out.
I didn't know if she was going to change, Sean. That's
fair enough. Okay, got you.
What a debut that would be.
Hi, Mrs. Meth. Nice to see you. All right, guys, let's get on with everyone and let's find out who's in the chat, who's in the comments. First of all, Eugene is in the comments saying, "Hi everyone, big up hashtag back Conte." Oh, he's changed his hashtag. I've never seen him say back Conte. It's usually Enic out. Good to see you, Eugene. Mate, I think you've just texted me. Let me get through this stuff and I'll send you the link in a second, buddy. Luke's in the house as well. Amazing news, lads. It is indeed, Lukey. It is indeed, mate. Good to see you. Team Mission's in the house saying, let's hope it's spent wisely. Cough, Emerson, cough. Well, I don't know how I feel about that one, Team Mission, because Emerson's definitely grown on me over the last month and a half. I've got to be honest, but we'll get to that. Stephen Cartwright, I hope Daigle doesn't become obsolete.
No chance.
No chance. I did invite Daigle on, but he's doing his own show later, and I think he wants to reserve his initial thoughts for his own channel, which is more than reasonable. Chris Agomba's in the house. Big up, Sean. Big up, Chris. Hope you're well, mate. My man on your bike, Scott, the first member of this channel. And by the way, guys, I hate to ask, but as this channel is trying to grow and go from strength to strength, if you do want to get your super chats in today, you absolutely can. And we'll answer everything and prioritize those comments. Not that we're going to ignore any of the other comments at all. And also, if you want to be a part of this channel's growth and show your ongoing support, then you absolutely can take up what On Your Bike Scott did and join as a member. All the information is in the channel. But like I say, there's no pressure or stress or even requirement for it. I love you all, and we will always do as much content as we possibly can, regardless of what happens. But big up On Your Bike, Scott. I love you. Sander Melligan's in the house. What's happening, Sander? He or she is saying, happy days. Atavacron, Wembley. Hello, Sean. Any chance this money is heading? I'm not sure what that means.
To the team, it will be.
Oh, no, he's got towards Daniel Levy's next annual bonus.
Oh, right. Wow, okay.
That's where he wants it to go. I know Atavacron Wembley is someone who's part of the Levy Out entity. So I'm sure he's a little bit cynical, and I understand why, mate. I understand why. Sorry, Cooper, I'm taking over your.
No, it's all right. Do you want to do them while we're doing this?
Yeah,
bit?
yeah,
Probably
okay, mate.
easier,
That's perfect. Nice one. The bottom duder's in the house. Big up, sure. Big up the bottom duder. I hope you're well. Good to see you, mate. By the way, the bottom duder. Any comment? I missed out on your super chats or one of your super chats last show, and I owe you that. So you haven't got to do anything this evening. I will absolutely pull up all of your comment if you have any questions or statements, my friend. RAI's in the house saying big up Sean and everyone in the chat. Big up RAI. Good to see you, my friend. Niall Paor is saying big up everyone. Big up Niall. Love that name, my friend. It's a difficult one to read out. Hope everyone's good there. Michael Bennett. Happy days, people. It is a good day. We're going to get through why that is shortly. Anthony Gray's in the house saying, come on, you Spurs. Is this looking good, Sean? It's 150 million. Now you've gone into it a bit more. Seems it is. You're known as the money man on the Spurs streams.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on all this? I appreciate that, mate. Yeah, well, we're going to go through that in a minute. This is the whole purpose of the stream. Although, given we've only got 2 hours, 15 minutes, I don't know how much of the other stuff, the transfer news and things we'll get through. We'll try and get through as much of it as possible. Ramirez Golden Cock was in the house saying, if there's a man to make sense of the terminology in that statement, it's our man, Sean Butler. I appreciate that, buddy. I'll do my best for us. Oh, Jim Birdcoy's saying, evening, people. Big up, Sean. Big up to you, mate. Big up to you, Jim. Hope you're well. NJ123 is also saying big up, Sean. Big up, NJ. Evening from Lee from the Lane. Good evening, Lee. Hope you're well, mate. Same with you, Brian C. Socrates. Alan Harris in the house. Knackered, so get on with it.
Hi, Alan.
All right, buddy. I'll try my best. I'm doing good. Thanks, Lee. I'm doing good, mate. Super chat already. Big one as well from the Americanka. My girl. Haven't seen you for a while. Hope you're doing well. She says, I'm excited for your insight on this injection and congrats on 1K. Your channel is really taking off. Just don't forget all the little people, Shawnee Poo. My dad used to call me Shawnee Poo. That's weird. Americanka, I love you. Thank you so much for your kind support and obviously for the generosity in the super chat. It means that the absolute world. And I 100% will give you as much as I possibly can within the insight into this injection. And I hope I do justice for the kind donation. Thank you so much. I'll come to that as soon as I possibly can. Cody Max in the house. I hereby suspend my Enic out stance until further notice. You're the first one.
Hey, Cody, how many Emerson Royale shirts can you buy for 150 million?
A lot. The answer's a lot.
Friend now.
Good to see you, Cody. Checkmate 734 is in the house. 150 million plus the 30 to 50 million plus the sales from the players. Then we're potentially looking at 180 to 200 million quid to spend. This is why we've got Kuba and Ian on the show. We're going to be going through, once I get through all the crap content, all the kind of nonsense of it and explain everything, we're going to get these guys' opinions. Then we're going to also be looking at, well, what does it mean to be in the Champions League? What does it mean from sponsorships? How much money can we get from TV revenue, from campaign prize money, from additional sponsorship money that we already have, from and maybe the stadium naming rights deal that was already supposed to be done that hasn't quite been done yet, that was supposed to be 25 million a year, 20 million a year, whatever it was. How much more could that be now? We're going to try and break all that down as best we can over the next 2.5 hours and see if it makes sense. So and then figure out exactly what we might be able to get together for the summer. Joseph's in the house saying, let's go. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Joe. Hope you're okay, my friend. Cooper sexy. Graham's in the house. How you doing, Graham? Good to see you, my friend. Oh, hang on a minute.
This one always throws me because it's got Coover99/Graham, and Graham's my real name.
Who else we got? Scott M's in the house. There are 0 holes in the Levy out fact. This is a guy. I love you, Scott. This is a man who's never going to change his stance. It's not Levy. It's not Levy out facts. It's Levy out conjecture on some of the things. It doesn't matter. We can debate it another day. Who else haven't I said hello to? Cody, Niall, Nick Collison's in the house. Flip flops. Barry, I don't know who you're talking to. There's no flip flops here. We've been solid the whole time. I'm pretty sure. Nick Brown's in the house. Good evening, Nick. Hope you're okay, mate. Great news today. It is, or it looks like it can be. Derek Hutchinson's also in the house saying, good evening, Sean, and the panel. We've got Danny. Let's hope the investment doesn't stop after this window. Well, actually, that £150 million has got a sell-by date on it, and we'll get to that in a minute. It has to be spent in whatever tranches we want to spend it. It has to be spent before the end of the year. Another point is, all that money going to go to team spending? Well, again, this is semantics. We got to, as usual, pick through everything. Claude Murphy's in the house. This is fantastic news. It is, mate. It is. Luke Eugene, sorry. Hi, Scott. Hi, Cody. Big Boss Man. Woo! Love Big Boss Man. How you doing, buddy? We got a new member in. Cough Benny. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you, man. That's amazing. I so appreciate that. Wow. Love you, buddy. Absolutely love you. Ben, I've sent the link out. If you want to, I don't know if you can come on. If you want to join us, you're more than welcome to. Oliver Freeman's in the house. Between Ali Gold video today confirming that Conte is getting fully backed and now Enic investing in the club, I am buzzing. It's a good time to be alive. Inizanakalu. I don't know if I butchered that one. What a name, though. Big up, everyone. I enjoyed my days a lot seeing Arsenal fans crying. I did indeed. Let me get the last ones. Wales of Wall Street. This is our guy, Simon. Think of how many Bitcoins you can buy with 150 million. A lot more than you could have bought about 6 months ago. I know, because I've got a few of them and they're not worth anything like they were before. Ethelstein Edwardson saying, I forget what this guy's first name is. I forget. I'm calling Mr. Edwardson. Hi, buddy. How you doing? How close are we to the bottom of the list here? We've got King Hoddle in the house saying evening all. We have Matt C in the house saying Sean Bet on Cooley getting top assists in the league next season. He had 8.5 a season. That is something to remember. I like that. I'm going to star that, so I write that down later on. Bear with me, guys. I'm just trying to find the other people that haven't said hello yet. George Hill's in the house. Big up, Sean. I hope you're doing well. Amir Sada, my brother from Israel, is in the house as well, saying fantastic news. Now time to spend smartly. Great panel tonight. Big up, Sean. Fantastic channel. Appreciate that, my friend. Appreciate that. We got another guest coming in right now. Before I'm just going to press pause, I've just noticed. Sorry, I was looking at the comments too long. I didn't even know. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know. Do I do the doorbell? I'm not going to do the doorbell. I'm going to keep you guessing.
All right, next contestant, spin the wheel again, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to love this guy. You know him as Ireland's #1 Tottenham fan, as Harry Kane's #1 fan globally, and the only guy who goes out of his way to get a Matt Doherty haircut. Please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for David. How are you, Dave?
I'm all good, boys. How are we? Absolutely buzzing with that news, by the way. I mean, it's absolutely huge for Tottenham. And look,
it's huge, mate.
Let Don Paratici cook. Been saying it for 6 months. Let him cook now.
He can cook with better ingredients now. He can go and get one of those giant fucking woks that are like, that cost like a few £100. You know, he can get like the best, all the best chemistry equipment, whatever. He can cook any way he wants now with 150 bar on top of what was already there. We're going to go through that very shortly. Last few people to say hello to that I haven't said hello to already. Dave Tyson's in the house. Good evening, Dave. Hope you're well, my friend. As is Anita Okonabihi. Oh, man, I'm butchering it. I do apologize, but love your name and welcome. Sean, you have seen the Only Fools and Horses Spurs song. You have to play it. I have seen it. I don't have it accessible, mate. And today's probably a bit too technical. Like, there's too much other things to talk about. So on another show, I will. Checkmate 7:30. Oh, sorry, was it? Coopers wants to point this one out. I will change my stance when there is a reason to. An announcement with zero action means nothing. All right. Fair enough. Rooty Toot's in the house. Good evening, Rooty Toot. The dash is for football. The dosh is for football on and off the pitch, according to the statement, but it's extra to the existing budget. 100%. We're going to come on that right now. Adrian's also here saying, "Short, I'm creaming." All right, that's nice.
Yeah, nice. You know, Adrian gets up to by 6:30
on a Tuesday night. Yeah. Awesome. Big up Sean, Cooper, and Ian, and now Dave. Last people. Carl Simpson's in the house. Hello, mate. Good to see you. Who else have I got? Who else haven't I said hello to yet? Coco's in the house. Good to see you, my friend. And the Birdie Hotspur is also in the house. Big up, guys. Going to have to change my logo now. You are indeed. Enic proud. And Spurs72, Lukey's in the house as well. P.O. Block, last but not least, P.O. Block's in the house. Big up Spurs Talk Show. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Right, Kuba, over to you, mate, if I can hand over to you for the comments.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, took 20 minutes of precious time. We've only got 2 hours to get through everything. Let's start with, where am I? Oh, first of all, sorry, boys, let me start. Dave, Dave, I haven't asked you how you doing, mate. How are you?
Oh, no, yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing, my man. Absolutely buzzing with life. I mean, I predicted all of this from the very beginning, top 4 in Champions League football and stuff like that. So I'm calm, lad. I'm calm.
Good man. All right, guys, I'm gonna have to hog the commentary for a little bit longer as I just go through this, and I'm going to come to you as soon as I possibly can to get your feedback. Let me go through the statement. I'll read it out to you guys, and I'll pause every time there's any information. And if anyone does want to get their questions in, then please get them in along the way, and I'll try my best to answer them for you. Tottenham Hotspur Limited has today, Tuesday, 24th of May, agreed a capital increase of up to 150 million quid from majority shareholder Enic Sports Inc. via the issue of convertible A shares and accompanying warrants. The first question there, I'm guessing, is what the fuck are A shares and what the hell are accompanying warrants? Well, guys, essentially, if you were in a publicly limited company that was on the stock market, A shares give you additional voting rights ahead of B shares and ahead of ordinary shares. So this is essentially not that it really matters for the purposes of this particular company, because this is all privately held anyway, but within the realms of people that are at the board of directors, but people that are the board, for what it's worth, this particular tranche of money comes with a little bit more voting power, a little bit more ability to exercise their influence. However, in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter. And a warrant, for what it's worth, is the right to pay for shares in a company at a specific price at a specific time, which would be of interest if it was a public company. But in the case that the fact is that it doesn't matter to any of us, we'll move on. The equity injection provides the Premier League club with greater financial flexibility and the ability to further invest on and off the pitch. Massive statement there, massive line there, right? So obviously it doesn't just mean that it's necessarily there for players. It could be there in a horrible, non-idealistic dystopian future. It could be there to finalize money for cinemas or to buy new property or whatever else. But I don't think that's going to happen in the short term. However, the next sentence will explain why that might be relevant. The investment represents permanent capital with no ongoing interest cost to the club, which is entirely different, obviously, to the $1 billion loan that we got in 2016-2017 season, of which we paid down 250 million at a 3% interest. This is coming interest-free from the directors, from the owners, and which may be drawn in tranches until the end of the year. And the difference here is that if it was the end of the financial year, which runs until next June, then they would have to say that as a club statement. They haven't said that. So that means until December the 31st, which essentially means, and which is why it's more important to remember now the on and off the pitch sentence. I would imagine that all of that money right now is available for transfers and for whatever else is needed within the running of the club. However, if for any reason any of that £150 million has not been used by September the 1st or whenever the transfer window closes, then it won't be available in January. It will not be available for a second transfer window. And so maybe in the scenario where we haven't spent that 150 million quid, maybe that whatever's left over could be put towards buying, cinemas or building whatever they want to do with that money around Tottenham Hotspur, or, improving the facilities within the club. But it's very important that we remember that this is only available for us, for the things that we care about. This is only available for this particular summer transfer window, which to me is important. The club's independent directors have benefited from its majority shareholders' ability to invest directly, swiftly, and without the extensive due diligence and documentation involved in third-party funding. So we haven't had to go to any banks, which is great. We haven't got to pay any interest, which is great. The money comes in. The other thing that hasn't been mentioned here is that this absolutely affects financial fair play. in traditional years, financial fair play, you were allowed to have an £8 million per year, per season loss without falling breach of FFP. That number has doubled now to 20 million. In previous years, though, if you had a direct cash injection from a direct shareholder of the club, then, which is what happened with Newcastle United, for example, and with Burnley, that money, and in fact with Everton, that money, that £8 million loss was extended to £30 million. So that didn't happen. That same extension from 8 million to 30 million, or 20, I think it's 25 million, sorry. That same extension didn't happen if you got a loan for any reason from a bank or from a third party. But if your direct owner or its subsidiaries invested money, like what happened with Newcastle, Everton, and Burnley, then you could lose more money without falling foul of the FFP. We now technically can do the same, even though I don't think it's particularly relevant because Tottenham have got so much wiggle room within their FFP that it shouldn't matter. Anyway, I digress. Under the agreed structure, the A shares can be converted into ordinary shares. The number of ordinary shares granted to Enic as a result of the capital increase will vary depending on when the 8 ordinary shares are converted, when the warrants are exercised, and valuations at the time. Don't worry about all that stuff. It basically it's all for tax purposes for those guys that are giving the money. Doesn't affect us at all. If drawn in full, and based on assumptions regarding the above, Enic's ownership of the club could see an increase from its current level of 85.6 to about 87.5 on conversion. What this means, guys, is that £150 million investment is essentially worth 2% of the club to the owners, right? And so
essentially then, Sean, they're buying 2% then for the 150 million.
Right. Which, if you do some simple math, 2% of 150 million, so 1.5 billion would be worth 20%. 20% times 5 is 100%. That particular cash injection essentially values the club, if they are doing that at what they consider to be market value or mark-to-market value, values the club at 7.5 billion, which I don't believe they or anybody else would ever pay that money. So it either means that they believe that the club is worth 7.5 billion right now, or it means that they are willing to invest money dilutive to what the actual valuation of that money is worth. And I think that the higher likelihood is that the club is not worth 7 billion. If Chelsea was worth whatever they got, 2.5 billion, maybe you could argue that Tottenham now with Champions League revenue is value, and plus the stadium that we have, maybe it's worth 4 billion. So what that suggests to me, don't know, but suggests is that they're actually taking a dilution on that money to try to support the club. And hopefully that will, with that 150 million quid, we can put it into the right places, extend, the success of the club, and then maybe in the future they can revalue. But to me, I don't believe the club is worth 7.5 billion. I don't think any club in football is worth 7.5 billion. But that is what the essential valuation of that 150 million quid makes the club worth. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if there's any questions from the panel. Are you guys all following me so far? Am I going too fast, or is it okay?
Oh.
Start all over again.
Okay. No, but am I going too far? Am I too boring? Is it going too slow? Am I going too slow? Or? Okay. Sorry, Ian. Do you want to say? Do you come in?
Well, no. I think just from the comments in the chat. I mean, people, I think, want to know how we think it's going to impact. In terms of the team, I think we can ban numbers about. There is naturally, and I've been on enough streams now to know, there is I think a healthy cynicism amongst supporters because we've had one or two false dawns. The impression I get though is this is completely different, and although yes, they say on and off the field. And yeah, technically that could mean they could spend, 149,999,000 on a hotel and £1 on a player, and that would be consistent with that statement. To my reading, Sean, there would be no reason whatsoever to make a statement of that nature at all. unless the vast majority of that was going to be going into the transfer fund. And also given, politically where we are with Mr. Conte as well, he plays the media game very well, and I think has made it absolutely clear. If you want me, I can do this job, and I can do it well, but I need the funds to do it. And I think that statement coming, 2 days after the end of the football season is so significant. Yes, the proof of the pudding will be in the eating, but I can't help thinking that a significant amount of that, as in 100 million plus, will be available for transfers. Can I just add something very quickly? I know we're not here to talk about Glasgow Rangers Football Club, but talking about financial fair play, and I think someone made a comment that I think we're not in any danger with financial fair play, because the money we've made over the years, we could spend something like 400 million tomorrow and still not breach it. But there was a comparison with Glasgow Rangers and how they got shafted. Rangers' problems were nothing to do with that. First of all, they couldn't pay their tax bills. But secondly, they were using a thing called employee benefit trusts, which pay players inflated salaries with loans that they were never required to pay back. And that's where they ended up getting into bother. It was nothing to do with financial fair play or anything that was similar to Newcastle or any other clubs. I just want to clarify that, because a few people talking about that in the chat. But
I agree.
100%. But I think this is a really, really exciting period, Sean. I'm sure other people want to comment as well, and I'm sure you want to get into the significance of where that money is and how it can be spent. So I'll shut up for a minute.
No, it's great. No, I love it, and I will come to Cooper and Dave right now. I just want to the last thing I wanted to call out from this. The rest of the statement is all just kind of like the Chairman and Turner, Levy and Turner, kind of giving out their information, but they have once again reinforced. I'm trying to find the line. I don't know where it is here, but essentially all of the money that has come in or that is coming in recent months. The stadium has hosted NFL, boxing, English Premier, blah, 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 blah. I'm trying to find where it is on the thing. That, I can't see it right now, but somewhere within this statement, it says that every single penny of profit, every single penny of revenue is going to get redirected eventually after all the other costs and everything. It comes back into the team. So there's another reassertion of the same rhetoric that used to have that was spoken about before regarding profits all go back into the team, which I can assume means that despite all this investment, despite anything else, that the board are not going to change their stance and their policy on taking dividends out of the club this season or for the future. They haven't taken any dividends out of the club, which is the difference between teams like Tottenham and teams like the Glaziers at Manchester United that leveraged all the debt onto Manchester United, but still took dividends to the tune of hundreds of millions of quid, hundreds of millions of pounds out of the club over the years. Tottenham haven't done that. Daniel Levy gets paid a salary, a very good salary, not denying that, but he doesn't take any dividends, and neither does Joe Lewis or any of the other directors of the club. So there is a massive difference between profitability and a salary. And it looks like, from what I'm reading here, that all of that will remain the same for the ongoing. So it looks pretty positive. Cooper, I'll come to you. That's basically the end of the statement. 150 million quid. Yes, it can technically go to on and off pitch, but I take Ian's point. I think that right now the narrative would be mad to announce this and then to use any percentage of that this summer, at least, in anything other than transfers. Would you agree?
Remains to be seen. We've had big promises from the club before, and it's not really transpired. There's one paragraph there that I think it was the last paragraph. They were talking about the club's increased revenues from both football and non-football related activities, all for investment in its football teams. Now, if that to me makes it sound as though it's always been the case, but how can it possibly have all been the case if Enic weren't investing further, and yet we were making all these acquisitions off the field, all this property being bought? The monies must have come from somewhere. So it clearly hasn't always been going into the team. Are they just saying?
All of the money that's come for any of those cinema, any of those things, none of that has come from Tottenham Hotspur. That's all come from Enic, invested via their subsidiaries. So that's
so
something
completely.
Absolutely no money. Like the money that was taken from Enic and put into those things. Yes, you could argue that until then they could have put that money into the club like they're doing now. They didn't, but now they are. But none of the money that's come from Tottenham Hotspur, from the NFL, from the concerts, any of that stuff, none of that has ever gone into the purchase, development, or sale of any of the properties.
Fair enough. Well, we'll see. We'll see. It sounds too good to be true at the moment. I mean, if this is the case, it's a monumental shift in what Levy and Enic have been doing, because it was always their plan not to use any of their own money. So this would be the Conte and Paratici effective. So in which case it makes his fourth place finish pale into insignificance compared to actually forcing a chairman to change the colour of his spots. It's a remarkable thing. Let's hope it is the start of something. And as for Brian Daigle sort of shying away from it, of course he won't. Because if this does happen, it's now got to happen for the next 4 or 5 years before we even start thinking this is a permanent shift in the way the club's run. If it's just a one-off just because it's Conte, we'll be back to square one afterwards. So let's see. It's hopeful though. I'm definitely more excited than I have been about closed season in a long time. So
I mean, if I play devil's advocate here on that point, Kuva, Levy, they've been in a long time, but say 10 to 15 years ago when there was started to be talk of a new stadium, Levy always said, I cannot compete with Arsenal, but the Man Uniteds, the Liverpools and whatever, with 50, 60,000 seater stadia, where I've got a piddly little 36,000 seater stadia. So the revenues and that we generate just aren't sufficient. And I need a new stadium. And if I build a new stadium, I can get 60,000 people in and I can generate the revenues that I can spend to bring a team of the quality that we actually desire. Now, obviously, COVID has had an impact, but the other side of that is actually Levy and Lewis are doing what they said. Yes, it's taken too long. Yes, there's been insufficient investment in the interim. Yes, there's been failures on and off the pitch where we should have won trophies. But in terms of the broad strategy, this is what Levy said he would deliver when he had a stadium with the revenues. The one thing I think we didn't expect is that this money that's come presumably from Levy and Lewis themselves, presumably maybe in proportion to their shareholding, is additional money to the money that would be generated through the profits. Whether you talk about the stadium naming rights and player sales, this is another 150 million pounds to be spent on the club.
Yeah, I think also timing has a lot to do with this, and the reason why I say that is I think they finally have a team they can believe in. We gave Steve Hitchen 300 odd million to spend, up to 350 million. I think he spent it completely wrong. But now you've got Paratici, who within one January transfer window helped get the club get to top 4. Also, his last signing Romero. So he's proven that he can get in players of quality. You've got Conte, who, the fans just want him to be back regardless. He's also brought the fans, the club, the players together. And the board now want to come and be a part of that. Something special is happening here, I feel. But the reason why I say timing, guys, is because Man United have hit the reset button. It's going to take them a few years to be able to get back. Chelsea, no one knows what their future holds, but they're losing players left, right, and centre at the minute. Arsenal are in the mud. Real Madrid, Barcelona financially, don't have what they used to. Neither do Bayern Munich have that sort of money anymore.
True.
So the timing could not be any better for Tottenham Hotspur. And I think they see a path where all of a sudden now that they have the team in place in Paratici, Conte, the stadium, the training complex, the fans, everything all kind of going in one direction, plus they've sneaked top 4. I think they see a quick route a quicker route than maybe what they even envisaged, to be able to put us in pole position to be able to get into one of the European elite clubs now. Because if we invest that money and invest it right this season, it's going to take Barcelona, Real Madrid, teams like that, in my opinion. Like, yes, Real Madrid got to the European final this season, but Modric isn't getting any younger. Cruz isn't getting any younger. Benzema isn't getting any younger. It's going to take a lot of these clubs a long time to kind of come back from this and be able to spend the money that they used to be able to spend. So now is our chance to be able to get one step ahead of them and start getting in players that maybe necessarily we couldn't have got before.
100%, Dave. I fucking love that, mate. Great analysis from both you and Ian there as well. Hey, Cooper, before I think that it's you're right. The timing reeks of like there's an awareness that there's opportunity right now. I do want to, like, unfortunately have to bring up in a second some realities, I guess, of where we are financially before this happened. Looking back at the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust financial statements from January, and I want to remind everyone of a couple of things that we spoke about back in January that still are due at the end of the year, and I think they're important. Yeah, sorry, Dave. Just one more thing, actually, I did forget to say. Don't forget, they were having meetings back in January about potential investment, and I wonder, is this, a follow-on from that meeting that was happening back, in December, January? Remember when Levy flew out to the Bahamas to... Forest Lee, yeah. So I would imagine they'd have to announce that. Well, it's not come from Forest Lee, that's for sure. It's come from Enic. I don't know if Tottenham Hotspur would have to announce if Enic have had investment from people like Forest Lee or from any of the American consortiums. Don't know. Don't think they'd have to announce it, but I'd imagine that would be out in the kind of the financial press anyway. But yeah, it's certainly interesting and worth reflecting on. But there's definitely things that I don't think many people are aware of, and we're going to come to that shortly. Just want to bring another guy in who wants to come and say hello, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get my. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to bring him in. I can't find my thing right now. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up. He's making his re-debut. He's a review of the show from last time. Ladies and gentlemen, coming all the way over from. It's probably Wednesday where he is. He might be late at least. It's Eugene. Welcome to the show, Eugene. How you doing, my friend?
Hi guys.
Hi, Eugene.
From Singapore.
Singapore. What time is it in Singapore? Midnight?
1:46 a.m. Same time as Malaysia.
I
gotta wake him up. Yeah. Now he's the owner of one of the biggest Southeast Asian online shopping platforms.
Eugene. Forest Lee is 100%.
Yeah. If I'm Forest Lee, I'll buy Spurs a long time ago.
You wouldn't be on the show if you were the owner of the biggest e-commerce.
Yeah, one of the biggest e-commerce in Southeast Asia. But he's Singaporean, and I did some research on him, and I found actually he's an Arsenal fan. So, nah,
not gonna happen. What are your thoughts on the overall news, Eugene? I know you're someone you've always put every comment in the show as Levy out. So how do you feel today? Are you a little bit caught in two minds? Are you cynical or are you happy? How do you feel about it?
No, for me, I'm still a Levy outer because I still believe that the club should belong to the fans, not belonging to big billionaires or corporations that own them. More like the German, German
fan model,
fan model. Yeah. Because like what you've seen with Mbappe, right? That's so scary. Right, when the owners bend over for a player and give him that much power, that's madness. And for the 150 million pounds capital injection, it's not all going to the players. Come on, guys, right? It'll be on and off pitch investment, right? And in tranches, right? Not all at one time. So maybe when they need some money, they'll pump in some money. Maybe when they need to use it a bit, they'll pump in a bit. But in the end of the day, it's a sign that maybe they have actually heard us shouting at them all this while.
I think it's definitely a sign that they've heard us or heard certain elements. I think that, this is one of the reasons why, right? So let me get this up. Let me bring this up to you, right? So, guys, I don't know if you remember this stuff. This is the information from the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust, and I'm going to try and get through this stuff quickly because it's relatively boring. But where I'm. So if you guys can zoom in on your YouTube, this is the important bit. That we're on the top right hand corner, where I've underlined in yellow, right? Short term player payables on the balance sheet, and in the very top right hand corner, as of next season, as of right now, essentially, because this was written in June 2021, but as of right now, we owe £56 million on players that we've previously purchased that we haven't yet paid off for. And that's not including Romero. That's not including any of the players we signed last summer or in January. This is from June 2021. This was before June 2021. Okay, so you're probably looking at players like Reguilon, like Højbjerg, Ndombele, all of those. The way that, obviously, I'm sure everyone knows, the way that you don't, when you go and buy someone like Lo Celso for 40 million quid, you don't just write a check for 40 million quid. You basically pay it off in installments, and that installments is, obviously every one of them will be individually slanted, however the deal was struck, but just to make it a simple thing, if we buy a player on a 4-year contract and he costs £40 million, then for the purposes of simplicity, we would owe £10 million per year to the purchasing vendor, and we owe £56 million this summer on players that we have not yet finished the payments on from previous seasons. So there might be a little bit of Sanchez in there. That might be a little bit of like I say, Højbjerg, Ndombele. It's certainly going to have some Lo Celso. All of that money is baked into that 56 million. On top of that, we're going to start the purchases or start the repayments on people like Lo Celso, people like, let me get rid of this now. People like Romero, we're going to start the repayments on. We're not going to pay 60 million quid up front for Romero immediately. That will also be, stagnated over the 5-year deal or whatever it is. But Emerson Royale, people like Brian Hill, all of those things are going to be factored in ongoing. But if we have 56 million pound immediately that we have to pay out, can you imagine if we qualify for the Champions League and then everyone thinks there's 150 million quid budget, but no one knew that there's still 50, 60 million quid left on residue purchases for players that we haven't yet paid for? That would create even more of a Enic out narrative. So this 150 million quid couldn't be timed better, because we need a cash injection to be able to then go and buy the players in lieu of, regardless of what we already owe, because no one remembers the money that we owe. Everyone thinks when the player plays for Tottenham that the player's paid for. They're not. Kulusevski's not paid for. Romero's not paid for. Bentancur we're paying off, obviously, as we go along. So I think that this £150 million is, to your point, Eugene, because the narrative has changed. And if Daniel Levy didn't go and spend a whole bunch of money right now, then he would feel the wrath even longer and even more than he ever would have done before. Dave, sorry, Eugene, go on, mate. Yeah.
But Sean, but what if he sells them? Right, but he might not get back all that money. Maybe that £56 million may be cut into half.
Yeah, well, we do have. So here we go. Where is it? Short-term player receivables. So we owe 56 million on players that we've paid for. We are due 15 million in short-term on players that we haven't yet received money for. So net is 40 million, and in the long term, we still owe 113 million on players that we haven't yet paid entirely for. And so short-term is due immediately. Long-term is due any point after 1 year. And long-term player receivables is 4 million. Obviously, if we were to go and sell Ndombele, sell Lo Celso, all of that stuff can be altered. But it's just something to bear in mind that, as much as we're going in the right direction with our finances and the money, that we do owe a lot of money. And unfortunately, last year, because of COVID issues and empty stadiums, that the money that would have come in to pay for that stuff hasn't been there. So now it is for the first time. Dave, I'll come to you. Does that all make sense? And how do you feel about,
sorry, Sean, I was just going to jump in very quickly, just because it's such a straightforward question.
Yeah.
Tavakron's asking, are the club obliged legally to make this statement public? Because it's not like a standard sort of club on the stock market, is it? Where you have an AGM and things like that. Is it any different with us?
No, then they would have to announce it in their financial reports, because the financial reports go to the HMRC. So all of that stuff would have to be announced. But they've done this obviously as more of a public service announcement to the club. So they didn't have to do it.
Sooner or later, be found out. I mean, that's what.
Yeah, it would have to be announced officially within the statement of any business, which anyone can find those sorts of things if you look online and if you're interested in any company. But they didn't have to do it now, but they would have to do it eventually. But they're doing it now, obviously, to get the public opinion in the right direction.
To get the fans riled up.
There we
100%. Sorry, Dave. Yeah, how do you feel about this? And then we'll come to Ian and then Coover after that. How do you feel about the? Are you concerned, or do you accept the fact that we either fit the 60 million or the 40 million net of all outgoing transfers? And do you think that's probably the reason why we have, also had this injection of capital, just to make sure that we've got enough money, enough free cash flow to get everything done that we need?
Yeah, I accept that. Look, there's that. There's probably loan repayments and stuff like that, and cash was probably tight. But don't forget, we've player sales, money to come in, because we will, and we have a lot of players we can probably cash in on this summer. You've got the Premier League revenue coming in. You've got the TV revenue as well and stuff like that. I think, look, this 150 million is just to allow us to kind of maneuver around this summer, maybe go after some pre-contract players now if we wanted to and stuff like that. But look, to be honest with you, Sean, I'm not really nervous whatsoever, to be honest, because for me, I've said this a long time ago, Paratici, no matter what budget he's given, he knows how to manipulate it. That's why you're seeing the Kulusevski deal being kicked further down the line. And that's because this guy is just smart. He's business savvy. Kick that one further down the line. We'll get that done once we get revenue from the Champions League next season. And then, we can use the money this summer to really invest and go and really back Conte and hopefully get a leapfrog on the likes of Chelsea next season. Liverpool and City cannot keep continuing. It's inevitable after about a 4 or 5 year cycle. One of them is going to tail off. So it's absolutely perfect timing. And for me, I'm not worried at all. I mean, it's just usual business a football club does. It's been standard and that way for years, where things are done over installments and stuff like that. But that 150 million now allows us to work, allows Paratici to work. But that guy can manipulate a budget like last season. Whether fans like it or not, budgets, teams have always worked within budgets. Yes, some are a lot larger than others, but they've always worked within budgets. So we shouldn't be shocked that there are budgets. But the difference is Paratici can work with one, Steve Hitchen couldn't. Paratici got in Romero on top of Emerson, Brian Hill and other players last summer, and the way he structured it, it doesn't have to be paid to this year. And that's off the back of a pandemic. That would never have happened under Steve Hitchen. Getting in the two players, Bentancur as cheap as we did, and Kulusevski on loan, that would never have happened under Steve Hitchen. That guy went out to Milan how many times? And he came back with a pair of parade after Milan fashion. We didn't come back with the like he was supposed to. Because when he went out to negotiate deals, he was probably sent out there with 50, 60 million, get a deal done. He comes back, no, they want 70. Whereas Paratici can go out and go, okay, you want 70, okay. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll take him on loan for a year because it's a big chunk of money to be shelling out. Hopefully this guy can settle in and play well, and then we'll do an obligation to buy. Paratici can manipulate any sort of budget, and it's crucial that we have him here. And now I want to hear everybody say it, because when Jack said it about Paratici being a Don, it all of a sudden became a massive talking point everywhere. Oh, can you really call him a Don? Is Don going too far, this, that, and the other? But let him go and call him a Don now.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's 150 people watching right now. Everybody that believes that Don Paratici is the guy, the Don, if you believe it, I want to see everybody in the comments write the word Don. I want to see how many people.
And admit you made a mistake for once. People out there, all up admit you made a mistake for once and call him Don Paratici.
But guys, I've got a question here.
Don in the comments if you believe in the Don.
I've got a question with Decky, right? Let's say if next season he turns out to be a real baller, right? And Juventus turns around and says that, okay, we're not selling him.
No, they can't do that.
They can't do that?
No,
they can't do that.
The contract in place. The only difference right now, we have the option to sign him permanently this season or next season. The only difference is that on the price changes. We do it now, or if we do it next season, it's slightly more expensive just because you have to pay an additional loan fee. And on top of that, if we qualify for the Champions League next season, then we have to pay, I think it's 35 million for him next season. Right now, I think we have to pay 30, or we can pay 30. We don't have to pay it right now, which is why, like Dave's saying, we're deliberately delaying it so that we can save that money for hopefully what sounds like a monster summer. Ian, I'm going to come to you now before, because there's a few people that are asking in the comments. I see them saying, "What does this mean to the overall net spend?" And we're going to go through that. We're going to look at like player sales, and we're going to look at like the revenue we can get from stuff. But just generally speaking, how are you feeling right now about do you mind about the 55 million? Like, are you factoring that into your thoughts that we have to pay out, etc.?
I think because this is the point. What we don't know is what gets spent and top line and in terms of immediate payments and what have you. And you're always going to have to factor that in. And I'm working on the basis that some of the players that we're going to get rid of, and Lo Celso and Ndombele would be at the top of that list, will be part of that 59 million or 55 million?
Well, I think it's 56 million we have to pay, but I think we are also getting back, where is it? I think 15. We're also getting back 15 million.
40 million.
Yeah.
But, interestingly enough, just because I'll be honest, I have to say, I pick up on Dave's point. I think he makes a really, really important point about, sometimes in business, you just have to grasp an opportunity when it arises. And I think he's so right. Manchester United, I was talking to someone at the weekend who's certainly got contacts in the Manchester United boardroom, who says they know they're 5 years away from being, even hitting this reset button, 5 years away from competing. Arsenal, I just see they're a club going round and round in circles. Chelsea, who knows what's gonna happen? But does anybody seriously think they're going to be as successful over the next 5 years, 10 years as they were over the last? I doubt it. And I think Dave's absolutely right. There is a real opportunity, absolutely real opportunity. Just a comment from Marlon Green. Let's hope I don't see any way that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't.
Conte won't stay. Matt Law, who seems to be one of the journalists from the Daily Telegraph with a real inside track on what's going on around a number of clubs, told Conte will get the full 150 million of this should he decide to stay. Powerful pitch from Spurs when Paratici hold talks with him in Italy. So. Let's go on then. So I'm working on the fact I was looking at earlier on a stream, probably on Eugene's stream, where I thought we might get 120 million in sales, and with maybe 80 million coming from the club if we made top four to get maybe up to 200 million pounds. I'm looking at it's hard to know what values we can get, because as well, I mean, Lo Celso, I've stuck Lo Celso down at 40 million. I don't know if we can get that. I'm trying to be optimistic, maybe 35. But of course, there might be a deal to be done with swapping him for Torres, who we apparently have been interested in. I don't know. And Ndombele, can we get 35? Winks, I think, is one of those ones. 20 million I've put down. Reggie, I know Real Madrid have got a buyback clause. I can't remember how much that was. I've written down, this is in sterling, not euro. I've written down...
I think it's about 35.
Yeah, I've written down 30 million pounds, and I don't know what because the fee would have been agreed in euros, I'm sure. Cameron Carter-Vickers, we've got an agreement with Celtic. They've agreed terms at 6 million, rising to 10 million. Yeah. I've then written down Rodon, Sanchez, Emerson, Tanganga, Lucas, Stevie B. Now, I don't know that they're all going to go. And if they do, we're going to need a lot more than 6 players to replace them in the squad. But you can see, I mean, with the ones I've written down, that's 129 million. Then Rodon, Sanchez, if we were selling him, I hope not. Sanchez did really well when he came in. Rodon as well, I'd like to keep, and then bring in one more central defender. Emerson may go, and 2 new wing backs. Tanganga, I think he needs to at least go on loan, but probably leave now. Lucas, again, he would need replacing. But what could we get for Lucas? 20 million? Steven Bergwijn. And You don't think Lucas will go for 20 million?
I don't think Lucas will leave. I think he's a perfect squad player, and also I think that he can change a game when he's on form. That flick that he did against Norwich to put Sonny through was just sublime.
Yeah.
I think he's someone that's also happy to play a part of the team. He celebrates the team as much as himself, more than himself, and I think that you want players that are happy to play their part in the overall squad. Someone like Bergwijn isn't. Bergwijn comes across to me like a very self-motivated person, focused person, and I think he's going to need to go because. But I think that Lucas Moura you could have on the bench, and he's not going to, be unhappy or be trouble. No trouble from him.
But going back to your question, I mean, we're looking at. I would think somewhere between, because I think Bergwijn, you're right, will leave. So I think looking at those players, we're looking probably at somewhere in the region of 150 million, 130 to 150 million.
But guys,
outgoings.
When you sell the number as a whole, right, you won't get the cash number back as a whole. Don't forget.
No, you don't. But I think this is the whole point. In the same way as this 59 million, that's historical debt because they're players we've spent 120, 130 million on for a club that doesn't invest. And that's money that's being paid in tranches. No, we won't get that money in. But when Sean, you know more about this than anybody, that when you're factoring that into the accounts, you're factoring it. It's like things.
We won't get that money in, but then we wouldn't if we were to spend 150 million quid on players. We're not actually letting 150 million quid go either. So it all nets itself out,
for 150 million pounds. And then Fraser Forster appears to be the backup goalkeeper of choice. Yeah. Must say I like him a lot. I think he's
if we have time, Ian, we're going to move on to the transfer news because I do want to talk about that stuff as much as this is dominating the program right now. I do want to talk a little bit because I am a little bit worried about some of the news that's come out, about Pau Torres, that all of a sudden it looks like his agent's on a plane to Manchester to secure a deal to Manchester United, which is annoying because Conte's away on his 2-week break. And we're focusing on finalising the deal for Forster, but we're potentially letting we're not our eyes off the ball a little bit. And Manchester United are going to go and get Pau Torres, which to me was the most easiest left-sided centre-back deal in terms of swapping Lo Celso. But we will come to that very shortly. What I do want to do, Kuba, I'm just going to give you I'll let you just have your rant on how you feel about everything right now, and then I want to just quickly spend some time on looking at a breakdown of where the money can come from qualifying for the Champions League next season, how much money you can get from campaign finance, from spending, from TV media money, etc. But before we get there, Kuba, you've been incredibly patient and quiet. How do you feel, bro?
Sorry,
Sean, with the comments, does it, mate?
Sean, sorry, Kuba, just give me a sec. Just Spurs Express has just tweeted Tottenham have offered 50 million for Pau Torres. That's just
right now, is it?
Straight off the press, 5 minutes.
Wow.
Come
on!
Okay.
That's when the dawn is looking, right?
Sorry, Kuva.
I love that. Breaking news, people. Breaking news.
Sorry. Who said that?
It's come from Spurs Express. Their source. Sorry, just bear with me. Sorry, I lost that. What's their source? Carousel. I don't know who that Carousel is.
Is that Calcio Mercato? Is that the name?
It's a Spanish site. All the excitement of sport live. I'm translating the Spanish here, using Google Translate.
Well, it may well be true. I mean, let's face it. Even the most pessimistic of us isn't going to say we're not going to be signing anybody.
No. This source is followed by Fabrizio Romano and Guillem Belay. So presumably it's a reasonably reliable source.
Yeah.
Does the 50 million include the Celso?
Well, yeah. Let's talk about that because there's news out that we'll get to that if we have a chance. So I just want to finish with the financial stuff first. Kuba, sorry, mate. Rant on. I'll take over.
Not a rant. I'm just more sort of cautious. Somebody put in the comments earlier, sorry, I've forgotten who it was now, but they said I should just cheer up and believe in Conte. I do believe in Conte. I believe in Paratici as well. What I don't believe in is Daniel Levy, because he's had 21 years of pulling the wool over our eyes and pulling a swift one as well. Let's just hope it's the start of the change. That's all. And I'm very optimistic about this summer. I think this the whole Conte in part has shaken up the club in a way that's been needed for literally decades. And let's have a great summer to finish, to carry on from that brilliant end to the season. So
Alan makes a good point, Kuba. He says I'll let you answer this. I guess this is to the point of did Tottenham need to announce it, right? And Alan's saying they should have done it on September the 1st. Now clubs are going to be adding a premium because they know that we've got money. I think
it ties in with a point with Americanka put in. Is it a PR thing because they're catching the fans on the crest of the wave? You put in the news like then it's like ecstasy. It's going into the summer. Mighty Spurs going to be splashing the cash. Brilliant. Let's forget all the bad stuff and away we go. It's like it's a huge sweep under the carpet of everything that's happened.
Well, if they'd done it September 1st, everyone would have went mad on the flip side of it, though.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, it's part PR stunt and part that's the way it is. Perhaps Conte actually wants to have that bit of transparency from the club as well. You never know what they're discussing behind the scenes.
I think it's more. They probably factored that in. How much is it going to cost us in additional funds versus how much is it going to give us breathing space from the Levy out camp? I think ever since the Man United game when we lost 3-0, the best result of the season, and Daniel Levy made the costly. And I want to actually make this point. We're going to press pause the finances to make this point. So I was saying this the other day on with Dave and Jack on the Irish Hotspur that. Where is it? So Arsenal fans have, for not everybody, but a fairly decent slab of the Arsenal fans have been like, trust the process, Arteta in. I wonder now whether a lot of that swing to Arteta out, that nasty swing, is because obviously that they failed, right? But are the Arsenal board going to look at what happened with Tottenham, where the weight of public opinion was so violently against Nuno that Daniel Levy had just signed Nuno on a 3 or 4 year deal, 10 million quid a year, and had to pay out an absolute 4 million a year, had to pay out 14 or 15 million quid in compensation to a guy who had been at the club for 2 months. And then on top of that, went and bought the most expensive manager in world football on a 2-year deal. And yet, despite that massive expense, has paid for all of it. Every penny of it has been paid for because we now have finished top 4. It was the biggest his hand was forced by the weight of public opinion, by the Levy out brigade, and not just Levy out, but people that were going, what the hell's going on? Like, why are you taking Lucas Moura off, who was the only good player on the pitch that day, and bringing on Bergwijn? And the weight of public opinion was so staunch. Yet that entire cost, 15 million on compensation to Nuno, and then 15 million quid a year or whatever it is for Conte, all of that's been paid for right now because it turned out to be an absolute genius decision. Whether it was forced or not, it was a great decision. Are Arsenal now, the board of directors, actually going to change their tune and sack Arteta a couple of months into a 3-year contract because they look at Tottenham and see what a brave decision can do when the weight of public opinion has switched violently? Dave, I can see your head shaking. Where are you sat on that one?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, Arsenal think they're going to do what Liverpool done with Jurgen Klopp. That's what they're trying to do, and it's not going to happen. Look, the guy doesn't have the charisma. He doesn't have the personality. He doesn't even have the leadership or the respect of the players to carry that club forward. That's why he's working with a kiddie crash. That's why Aubameyang went out the door. And when that starts happening, that's concerning. You've gone from Aubameyang to Nketiah. You know, it's
Aubameyang. It keeps going back to you.
It's just like, look, Arsenal are completely in the mud. But I do want to say though quickly, Sean, it's not only do the board see an opportunity? But you've got Conte here. You want to keep him. You've got to back him. You've got Harry Kane, who, and no one's mentioned this, but Harry Kane also needs to be showing the investment. It's crucial to keep him. Man City have Haaland coming next season. Apart from Haaland, Kane, who else is out there to go and get that's going to get you the goals these guys are going to get you? And I've spoke about this before. There's a lack of world-class strikers out there. Before, there used to be 10 a penny. Now, because it's one up front, it takes a rare striker to be able to, a very good, athlete to be able to fulfill that role the way Haaland and Kane does. So it's very important that we do this. But look, if we're being honest, how many fans have sat there and said, especially come the end of the season or towards the end of the season, Conte has got the fans on board and the players, and all three of them are all coming together. Now it's over to you, Daniel Levy, and the board. Well, they're showing we all said show us your ambition. Well, they put it out there today. So I don't understand why we should have a problem with that. We asked for it. We asked for them to come and join the party. We asked for the ambition to be shown. And they've gone and done that. So I don't think we should be so quick to close it down when everybody said, it's over to you, Daniel Levy and Enic. Well, they've responded. So why are we getting angry about it? Why are we being cautious about it?
But honestly, Sean, I don't give a shit what Arsenal does. They can keep Arteta for the rest of their lives for what they want to do.
Hopefully.
Right? Yeah. But the thing is that even if they sack Arteta now, who are they going to bring in? There are no more top managers for them to bring in now.
You're right.
Think about it. Right. Ten Hag is gone.
Who is left? There's not. You're right. Yeah. Maybe they go and get a Graham Potter or someone. I don't know, but you're right.
Very, very quick message for 164 Spurs saying, good evening, guys. 2 days for my mum's funeral, so feeling low. But you guys cheer me up. Big up, mate. I had to have my mum's funeral a couple of months back, so I know how you're feeling, mate.
So sorry to hear that, Luke. So sorry to hear that,
YouTube community is a great source of strength for you. Coming on when you're feeling a bit low. A lot of good channels about it, a lot of good people around here. So big up, mate.
Yeah, it's devastating to hear, man. I hope you're okay, bro. Reach out to me on Twitter, man, if you need someone to talk to. I'm there for you, buddy. Sad, man. That's super sad.
Yeah. Hope you're all right, my man. Hope you're all right. You need anyone to speak to, just reach out to me or any of the others, I'm sure. And there'll be someone there to speak to you, my man. Hope it's all okay. I know it's a tough time.
100%, mate. 100%. I'll just take this opportunity now. I'm so sorry, Luke. I was going to take this opportunity to say Paul Markey with a super chat. He's saying best sales, Bergwijn, 20 million. Harry Winks, 15 million. Ndombele, 20 million. Lo Celso, 30 million. Reguilon, 25. Royale, 20. Totaling 125 million. Anything more is a bonus.
Yeah.
I think all those numbers. I think Harry Winks might be a stretch to get 15 for him. I like the fact that you've written Ndombele down to 20. I think if you can get 20 for Ndombele, you're not going to get 15 for Winks. But I think that's about reasonable. The rest of them, would you guys agree?
I think they're low. They're low. Those are in euros. Those figures are in euros.
Yeah.
I don't think it's too far off the mark. I mean, there's not that many clubs with a lot of money at the moment.
One second.
Apart from us at the moment, Coover, by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
I think
we're absolutely rolling in it.
I think Winks is overvalued. I'll be honest. I think we'd be lucky to get 10 for that guy.
What other more points in the wrong place?
But Dave, he goes to a Premier League club, right? He's got the English tax on him, so I guess he'll be worth a bit more than that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Unless he goes down to the Championship, then he'll.
Everton have managed to stay up, so you never know.
We can ban these figures about, can't we? I mean, the bottom line. Let's say we agree 125 million euros. That's still a significant amount of money when you're talking about up to 150 million pounds. You're still then talking, because someone asked earlier about the bottom line. That would still give you a bottom line of up to 250 million pounds to spend on transfers. I think Sean didn't want to go into the incomings yet, but that's a significant war chest by any standard, and certainly miles more than anything we've ever had by way of expenditure at this club, and more than most clubs have ever had, other than the Madrids and the Paris Saint-Germains of this world.
In really simple terms, it's a couple of very high quality players for that, isn't it?
But
120
you also look at that though, and it's like what Sean was saying about the money that we owe for players that we've already got. 40 million, wait 40 million off that. You've still got 85 million plus Premier League revenue plus the 150 million that they're after injecting. And a lot of reports are coming out now saying that it will go towards transfers.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Let's just spend.
I don't know if you're ready to move it on yet, Sean, but I mean, there's a fair number of decent free transfers out there that we've been linked with.
Before we get into the transfer stuff, I just want to spend 3 minutes. I know. How long would you have, Ian, before you have to jump off?
I could do another 10, 15 minutes maybe.
Okay, just give me guys, give me 2 minutes, guys, just to throw out some stuff for you, and that is that. Where am I? Oh, sorry, not there. This is not what I need. I need to now go to my share screen.
Revenue.
Right. This is what I want to show you guys. Bear with me 1 second. How much money does I'm not sure if you can see all this. How much money does the Champions League? How much do we make, right? And so, just to run through this real quick. Essentially, that you can win. The Champions League finalists will receive 17 million. That's not important. This is for this season's money, but you get $17.7 million. This is in dollars for getting to the group stage this particular season. If you win a game of the 6 games that you'll play, every game that you win, you get an extra $3 million. This is just in prize money. If you get to the round of 16, you get an extra 10, 12 for the quarters, 15, 14 for the semis, 17 for the runner-up, and 22. And it equates to essentially, where is the number here?
120.
It's 85. Sorry, I looked at. I've got written it down earlier. It's 85 million quid is what you can basically win from 82.5 is from potential prize money that's available if you win. Let me get rid of this now. I don't need this anymore. I'm just going to trust me, guys. I've done the research. I'm going to call it off of my notes here. So you can get 82 million for prize money.
If you make all the way to the final.
Yeah, if you make it all the way to the final, or the maximum you can make is about 85 million from the prize money. You can also make 70 million from TV revenue, right? And this is worth showing you. Is it on here? Where is it? It's on this. Is it on this screen? Hang on 1 second. Let me just find it before I bring it up. Yeah, here we go. So I want to show you this.
The TV revenue, is it based on the group stages or all the way to the final two?
So here is the money. Oh, fuck, I got the wrong one up again. Here is the TV revenue that Swiss Ramble put out for the 2020 season, the season that Tottenham got there. It's based on how many, based on coefficients and rules and European rules and all this nonsense. But essentially, there's 600 million euros that is out there for people that qualify and play on the Champions League in terms of TV. When we got there, Tottenham made 69 million. Oh, it's going away. Excuse me. Tottenham made 69 million in the 2019 season, the 2018-29 season. So Paris Saint-Germain, I don't know why they got 134 million of it. I don't know why Bayern Munich got 130 million. It's based on a whole bunch of different assumptions that Swiss Rambles put forward. But on top of the 82 million quid that is available in prize money, there's on average about 70 million euros, 70 million pounds. I'm not sure if it's pounds or euros that is available from
TV
prize money. On top of that, guys, we haven't factored in the naming rights deal. So we're talking about pools of money here. So far, we're at a potential 150 million quid. If we make a good run at the Champions League this year, there's 150 million quid available to us from TV rights and prize money if we do well. Obviously, Daniel Levy can't spend money that he doesn't have, but he's going to be factoring in and forecasting potentials, right? He's going to wait until maybe the draw comes out on August the 24th, I think it is, to figure out who we've got. And then smart people in the boardroom are going to say, well, let's presume that we get, I don't know, 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses, whatever, and then factoring that stuff in. On top of that, guys, don't forget, we were very close only a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, to securing a naming rights deal. And I did a post on this on my 5th or 6th morning walk with my dog Bugsy. And she was right when she said, don't forget that Crypto.com was the biggest naming rights deal for the Staples Center that was at $40 million a year. It was argued that Tottenham at the time were likely to get a $25 million or £25 million a year deal over 20 years, which is a £500 million deal, right? Not every, that's 25 million pound a season. Don't also forget, guys, that if Tottenham qualify and do well in the Champions League, AIA, our shirt sponsor that currently have a 20 million pound a year, 10-year deal, £100 million 5-year deal, so 20 million pound, they will have clauses in that contract that if AIA shirts are seen on TV more because we're playing on BT Sports on Wednesdays and Tuesdays rather than Thursdays, that there'll be bonuses there. Also, Get Here, the delivery app, they have got a 3-year deal with Tottenham. I can't find anywhere what that deal is worth, right? But let's presume it's worth, I don't know, 5 million quid a year as the training ground stuff. If you factor all of that stuff in, there is potentially, if Tottenham can get the naming rights deal done on the stadium, there is potentially another 180 to 200 million quid of revenues that we can get this season that we only, that of this season just finished, we only got $8 million for by finishing in the group stages of the Conference League. Daniel Levy's going to look at that maximum spend of 200, maximum revenue in of 200 million, and probably think, let's assume we can get 30% of that. Right?
John, have you factored in the NFL games and the concerts and the boxing matches?
Yeah, there's money there too, but there's nothing more announced about that to factor in right now. But I'm sure he's factoring that stuff.
I thought we're getting at least 2 NFL games next year, something like that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we've got we have got that, but I don't know if they've announced what the actual numbers are for that one yet in terms of what Tottenham gets from it. But my point is, in terms of trying to figure out what our budget would be, Daniel Levy's going to be looking at prize money, at TV revenue, and at sponsorship, incremental additional money coming in. And when you compare the 8 million we got from the Conference League this year to what is potentially 180 million quid,
how much are we getting for being fourth?
You get 16 million quid just for qualifying immediately from prize money to the from
the Premier League. Get from the Premier League for being fourth.
I don't know. I don't know what the actual number is. If anyone in the comments or anyone in the panel knows that, I don't know what the number is. Do you guys know?
The Holy Grail, Sean, is I think an American North London franchise, American football franchise. I think I've been saying this consistently on streams. I think that must be the objective of, particularly of spending the amount of money we did, putting in an American football pitch underneath or rolling out. That would be the world game changer. That makes us a major player in world sport. I've got 8 minutes, Sean. By the way, I must log out at 8.
Well, let's move on. Let's presume, guys, that there's about 150 million quid of additional money coming in, and then that doesn't include any of the money. And as Ian pointed out, there could be 150 million quid worth of player sales, right?
Should with Dre's this 37.4 million for fourth.
37.4 million. Okay, that's awesome. So look, guys, outside of this 150 million, when you net off the 40 million that we owe in money to other players, there's still 110 plus whatever was in the kitty, plus player sales. And to Ian's point, there that could get up to 100 million plus. Plus, they're going to factor in revenues. I don't think money's going to be an issue this summer. I think if the right player becomes available, we've got 200 million, 250 million potentially there to invest, right? I don't know. It's very difficult to give specifics, but essentially, in a nutshell, it's taking us an hour and 20, or taking an hour of conversation to get to the point where money is no fucking object, people. Money is no fucking object.
Go
let's
buy
get to
some players, Levy.
let's get to the point. Let's get to the other news, right? So, where do we start? I want to start with this news. I'm going to come to Dave first because Dave was the first person that I ever heard saying that he absolutely is in love with this guy. The Daily Star is saying that Tottenham beat Arsenal. Tottenham have beaten Arsenal to the signing of Jed Spence with a deal that is 99% going to happen. From the Daily Star. On loan, Nottingham Forest fullback Jed Spence is reportedly set to complete a permanent move to Tottenham Hotspur from Middlesbrough this summer. I could go on. A reported £10 million fees understood to have already been agreed between Spurs and Middlesbrough, which will mean Spence will be a Premier League player next season, regardless of the playoff finals outcome. Quotes are from Spurs reporter John Wenham, and I quote: I think Spence is 99% going to happen. That's what I'm hearing, and the fee is actually very reasonable as well. It's around 10 million. That's a no-brainer. Thank you very much. He's the one a lot of clubs have been linked with, so it sounds like we are getting a really good deal, and we are gazumping Arsenal for the player. Dave, come to you first. Jed Spence is your boy, isn't he?
Yeah, look, I'm absolutely buzzing to hear about this one, to be honest with you, Shawnee. Look, I've had a good look at him this season, and I really like what he's about. What he does, Sean, is he first of all, he's very, very quick, but he's good on the ball. He likes to make things happen. He will skin players, but not only that, he's very, very rapid to get back. He's 6 foot as well, just over 6 foot, Sean.
Love
so that helps
love that.
in terms of the height department. He's only 21. He's a millennial, born in 2000. Look, I know Nottingham Forest loaned him out, but look, you could say they got it wrong. You know, this guy could be heading for promotion with Nottingham Forest, so you'd have to say that they probably got it wrong in my opinion. And look, he has come from, I think it's the Fulham Youth Academy, and they've produced some very, very good players down the years. I mean, we got Sesh Young off them. That young guy Elliott is got at Liverpool. Carvalho is now going to Liverpool. So, you know, players that tend to come from that academy tend to go on and have good careers. He can play right back or right wing back. So, you know, he'd be adaptable within the system, Sean. So I'm absolutely buzzing with this guy. Absolutely buzzing with him. To get him so cheap as well, I'm actually really, really surprised at, Shawnee. Very, very surprised at. But look, he's athletic, he's strong, he's quick. And that's all that matters, lad. You know, that's what we need.
Yeah.
Someone that is good on the ball, someone that is good defensively. And this guy does make very good defensive challenges. What I would say about his sort of defending ability, it's a bit like similar to Kyle Walker, where he has no problem getting forward, but he has that pace to get back and make up for it. He's going to be a very, very useful addition to this Tottenham team. Even if he doesn't really, even if the plan isn't to get him into the first team next season, in years to come, this guy is going to be absolutely quality. Plus, he's English. So he'll do well in there. He'll fit in for the homegrown as well. And for me, look, we're always going to have to strike a balance between youth and experienced players. But look, it goes back to that old expression, Sean. If you're young enough, it doesn't matter about your age. If you're good enough, you're old enough, you know. And this guy has certainly proved it this season. I encourage everybody to go back and watch the game he played against Arsenal. He was the best player on the pitch in the FA Cup and a massive reason of why Arsenal got knocked out.
Love that, Dave. I know I had to come to you first on this one because I know he's your boy, and he's going to also, and not only that, but he's also, well, you know what? I'll come to that in a second. Ian, I'm going to come to you on the Jed Spence. I know you have to go, so I'm going to give you the final word on Jed Spence or any other player that you want to talk about.
I don't know enough about Spence. Can I add my condolences, by the way, to the chat to 164 Spur? I lost my dad last year as well, so I know exactly where we're at with this. So just add my condolences to that. I can't tell you I've watched enough of Spence to have a big opinion. I know I watched a lot of Skippy when he was on loan at Norwich and knew he would be a big player for us, and hopefully he'll get injury free. But you know, we've got a lot of money. But I'm saying there's some very, very good free transfers out there. I would absolutely take Ericsson back. I'm a little bit surprised some people wouldn't. You see the way he's playing for Brentford. I think there were personal
also financially it makes absolute sense.
You know, there were some personal things, and I don't want to talk about that online as to why he really did need to get away from the club. And I think the club didn't handle it very well. I'm just going to say, I'll say no more than that. But if he wants to come back, Forster's a really good goalkeeper. I mean, if we could get Pau Torres, particularly in an exchange with the write-off money with Lo Celso, I think that makes great business. I'd love to see another player. Wouldn't be expensive. Would be De Vrij. I think he's over 30 a year left on his contract. Probably be about 15 million. Perisic, another one. But the one player, particularly we got that kind of money, and again to stuff the goons, would be Gabriel Jesus to come from City. I think he's a great player. I think he, for someone that can play across the line, including centre forward as backup. I know City are talking 50 million, but he's got 1 year left on his contract, so that could be negotiated down. I think that would be a really, really exciting signing for us. There are good players out there, and if we've got money to compete with the best, I am really, really excited about what we might achieve next season. Very excited.
So am I, mate. I know you have to go.
I do have to go.
Let me know. Let us know where everyone can find you, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
And everybody in the chat. It's been an absolute pleasure being on. And, to Kuva and Eugene and Dave and yourself and everybody in the chat. Have a good night. And let's come on, you Spurs.
Big up.
Cheers, Ian. Love you, mate. Come on again soon, Thanks, buddy.
He's good, isn't he, Ian? I
love Ian. Yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah, he's got all his notes. He wants to. He's brilliant. Very, very well.
He pays a good fee to come onto people's streams. Am I?
Let me get your opinion on this one. So we're gonna carry on with the There's loads of transfer news we've got to get through, and we've got less than an hour left. So I want to get through some of it.
I'm clicking through a few of these a little bit quicker than we should, really, but too much going on. Yeah.
But so before we get any further, my light's gone. Just before we go any further, guys, there's 130 people or so in the chat. I think we're just short of 100. We're short of 90 likes. Can we try and get above 100 possible? If possible, that'd be fantastic. We really appreciate that. And if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. Really, really appreciate you, boys and girls.
Yeah, simply too many to get through all the chats as well. So you'll have to forgive us skipping a few. But yeah, general speaking, I think Dave summed it up there when he mentioned Kyle Walker. That's the similarities I see. Perhaps not as powerful as Kyle Walker because he was quite the specimen for that. But an aggressively attacking, very quick player. That's what I'm all about for a wing back. That's miles ahead of Emerson. The reason I don't care about the defensive side so much is because we play with three at the back with a couple of covering midfielders. That it's built so the full wing backs can go forward. They're going to get caught out of position. It's the nature of the game. What they do need to do is offer that attacking outlet on the wings, and this kid can do it. He's very exciting. I'll be really, really pleased if we get this one. There's another one at Ajax as well. I always talk about Divine Wrench. He's a very, very similar sort of minded player. Another one who's quite tall and very quick, can take players on, score with both feet, and find a killer ball as well. As there's very good players out there. You just got to be prepared to give them a bit of a chance. People are going to say no Premiership experience, but Kyle Walker didn't. When we got him like £250,000 from Sheffield United. It was a nobody. Take a punt sometimes.
Do you know what on that though, Kuva? I listen, as people know, I listen to a lot of players talk about their time and stuff like that, and they all say the only difference between the Championship and the Premier League is that things is just done that bit quicker. That the decision making is the only difference between really the Championship and the Premier League. Yeah. But look, the kid's only 21. Conte can mold him into what he wants. Conte gets him in before pre-season and works with the guy purely on what he expects out of him in the final third. But the kid has already got it. He showed it this season. He's got some goals. He's got a few assists. But what I like most is at times we've seen our fullbacks, especially take yourself back to the Brentford game. It's screaming out for you to knock your ball by your man, take him on and create your space. This kid will do it.
Yeah, that's been the missing part from our team for a while now. That sort of pacey, creative player. Well, the pace on the wing where you can put the ball in as well, accurately. and taking the man on. That is how you break down some of those more stubborn teams. Like you said, yeah, it's definitely a part of the jigsaw that's been missing far too long for us, I think. Although we kind of adapted to it recently with Emerson, kind of drifts into that central midfield, and then Decky ends up going out wide, doesn't he? It's kind of got past it in a way, but it's not the same as having an out and out wing back. This kid's dynamite, I think. Didn't look out of place when they played against top level opposition this season, did he?
No, and as well, you know, if you can keep doing what Emerson done as well, you know, towards the end of the campaign, which is keep making them overlaps, because what it does is it brings defenders with them, and then it allows Kulusevski to keep coming in on that sweet left foot that we've seen this season.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, is that I've not actually seen much of him, so not much to comment on.
Check out Fat Cap Your Talk. There's the Jack Dunn one on him. It's good.
Yeah. To me, is that if Conte wants him, get him. That's all. Simple as that. And if Conte thinks he can turn him to a world beater, or or whatever, he can form him into someone that can what you guys been saying, right? Another Kyle Walker, or maybe better than him, then get him, right? But in the end of the day, if he's needed and Conte has a plan for him, then take the punt. And it's cheap, right? £10 million. Come on, we got loads of money to spend.
We've got loads of money. And also, the other thing that I think that's worth pointing out with Jed Spence is I'm not entirely convinced now whether or not, you know, do you want to sell Matt Doherty? I think he's earned another season. Do you want to sell Emerson? Well, if you ask us 6 weeks ago, the answer was universally yes. If you ask us now, I don't know, maybe it's 70% yes, but I personally think that there's a player there and that he's taken his time to learn the role, learn the language, learn the country, learn the experience. And I don't necessarily think that we should be selling Emerson. Now, the problem is that if you have only a 25-man squad available, then you have two players for every position. You have an extra goalkeeper, so you have 3 goalkeepers, and then you've got 2 players that, you know, can go wherever you choose to go. Now, you wouldn't usually choose a right wing back to be that additional or one of those 2 extra places. However, if you go and buy Jed Spence, you can put him technically in the under-23 squad and use him in the first team without him affecting. You don't have to register him as a 20. Exactly, mate. That's what I'm trying to say. So, for me, if Jed Spence is the guy, and I'm happy if he is the guy, then that also means that we don't have to sell Emerson or Doherty.
Yeah.
And that, for me, I think is a good thing because both of those players have earned themselves.
Yeah, but for Emerson this season, we've seen, right, he's more effective as a defensive kind of role kind of guy and more effective as an attacking kind of role. So that's the point, is that if you have a right winger, right, that goes out and attack, you need somebody who can actually cross the ball. But maybe give him another 2 months or so with Conte, maybe he can really cross the ball properly.
But why can't we do what we done underneath Pochettino, though? Because you look at, like, the left-hand side, Rose was the attacking fullback, Davies was the defensive fullback. You look on the right-hand side, you know, you had Kyle Walker and Trippier. The thing is, Doherty got injured this season. Now, you can keep Emerson around because I don't care what people say, but he was being brilliant against Man City. He's been brilliant against Liverpool this season when he's played. And what he can do is fit into a Conte system and do well against the likes of Man City and Liverpool and come in for them games. But then for more attacking options, you have Doherty and Jed Spence there.
True. Swap them around.
100%. All right, let's move on to the next piece of news is actually worth reading out. Gabriel Jesus. So, according to Ali Gold has said, I know Spurs like Gabriel Jesus. I reported that the other day. Interesting because we know Arsenal like him. Jesus is interesting because he can play on the wing as well. He does kind of form both ones, as he is a good player and his contract is reaching its final year. I think City are asking quite big money for him, but maybe there's a player there that you can get a little bit of money off. In other places, the story's expanded. What's interesting about Gabriel Jesus, of course, is that Arsenal are going after him as their first choice at the moment. And I spoke about this on a Tottenham walk the other day, and I think maybe on a live stream. You know, how much can Arsenal offer a striker? Like, they need a striker, and there's not that many top level strikers, right? And I don't think Gabriel Jesus is in the top 30 strikers in the world list, but he is surplus to requirements at Tottenham. At City. But he was also offered to Tottenham last summer when they were trying to get hold of Harry Kane. So I'd be interested to know everyone's thoughts on Gabriel Jesus generally as a player, but also factoring in that we don't ever want to be gazumped or anything by Arsenal. But if Jesus wants to leave Manchester City because if Jesus was okay with being offered away under the impression that Harry Kane was going to come in, and then Harry Kane didn't come in, but now Haaland's coming in, he knows that he's always going to play second fiddle. Is he then going to want to leave a team that can still offer him a Premier League winners medal or whatever else, even though he's only playing 30% of the games, to come to a team that can't offer him that, to still only play 30-40% of games? Or would he rather go to Arsenal where he's a guaranteed starter, but where he's only playing Europa League football? I'll come to Eugene on this one first.
I think for Jesus, right, I will stay one more season with City and wait my contract out. You know why? Then it'll make the move easier, right? And the price won't be that bad. Because, number one, guys, Haaland coming into the Premier League is no guarantee. He's not going to say he's going to smash 30 goals, right? I'm not saying he's not going to. He might, but there's no guarantee there. You get what I'm saying? Right? No matter how good you are, when you come into a league, right, number one, Pep has been playing without a number 9 for so long. He will have to readjust his whole team to suit Haaland. And how long will that take? We do not know. And how long will Haaland acclimatize himself to the Premier League? We do not know.
I think he'll do it straight away, won't he?
No, we do not know. We don't know.
We don't know.
We haven't seen him play yet, right? We do not know.
True.
It's not a guarantee. You know, for all you know, he comes in the first game, right? Someone smashes into him, he gets injured, and he's out for 6 months. So will City take that risk? Yes or no? And
good point.
Will City deal with us after the Kane saga? That's another question, right? Will City, want to sell it? I mean, for 50 million? Now, City is saying if we sell to Arsenal, it'll be 50 million, right? So if I'm dealing with Daniel Levy now, make it 75.
Yeah.
You could sell it that way, right? But if Jesus decides to come to us, I wouldn't mind him, right? At least it will give relief to Son. It will give relief to Klug. It will give, you get a better depth in the squad. And since now we'll be at 4, we'll be attacking at 4 fronts, okay? Right. Next season we'll be going for at least one of the cups. Pray to Conte, right? Even we know that the Premier League is out of reach, right? Liverpool and MCT is still a bit too far for us to catch them, right? But at least we can have a chance at the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup, right? And a run in the Champions League, right, to get good money in for the following season. Yeah. But without the depth, how are we going to do that, right? And we can't be playing Kulu, Son, and Kane every single game for the rest of next season. We really need someone to come in, right? And maybe another 2 more people come in just to give them that relief during the whole season, whole next season. And don't forget, next end of the year, World Cup is around the corner. There's extra pressure there, guys. There's extra pressure there.
Kuba, before I come to the super chat from the bottom Duto, big up the bottom Duto. I hope you're well, my friend. Thank you so much for the super chat. Before I get to that one, just want to ask everyone else's opinion quickly on Gabriel Jesus. Kuba,
an undated talent. He's exciting, that's for sure. He's got a goal in him. Seems to be fairly flexible in where he can play. He does offer something to that forward line. I'll be quite happy with him coming to us, as long as we're not getting ripped off with the price. But yeah, he's quality. Well, I mean, City got him in the first place. They wouldn't have got him if he was some sort of mug, would they? So yeah, I like it. He's young as well. Conte will be able to mould him as well. But I'm waiting for this super chat one, actually.
Okay, well, bear with me 1 second, then we'll come to Dave quickly, and then I'll come back to the super chat. Bear with me the bottom. I'm trying to get like professional with finishing chapters of the show before we get to the next one. Dave,
I'm not a big fan of Gabriel Jesus, to be honest with you. Look, if he signed, I wouldn't say no, because look, I think we do need backup for Kane, and it would allow the likes of Troy Parrott to continue his development out on loan, get Dan Scarlett out on loan to continue and aid his development. But from what I understand and what I'm hearing, Conte wants someone that can play all across the front three. Now, the reason why I say we don't necessarily have to bring in a striker, and it can be someone like a Federico Chiesa, a Berardi who's been playing out on Sassuolo, which the bottom duty gave me a good insight to yesterday. You know, players like that who could play on the left, play on the right. And the reason why I say that is because you look at Sonny's goals this year.
Yeah,
a lot of them were for making runs in behind. He can do that playing up front. Kulusevski, that turn against Norwich, nobody can tell me after that turn against Norwich that guy cannot play up front, because someone that has never played up front before can't do that against Norwich with that turn. So he can also play up there. But then it just means if you put one of them up there, you have to have someone else to step in their position. And for me, like, for instance, if you're putting Kulusevski up front, you have to have someone who's equally as good on that right-hand side. You can't afford to go with a Lucas Moura expecting him to feed Kulusevski. It probably won't work. You can't afford to put Son up top and then have no one dropping in deep like Son done against Arsenal, or making them runs in behind like he's done this season. So, but from what I understand, Tottenham are looking for someone that can play all across the front three, a bit like what Liverpool have done with Diaz and Jota.
100%, mate. I couldn't agree more. I echo your thoughts. I'm well up for him. If he wants to come in, I love it. I personally think, though, that he would probably prefer, like, the fact that he wants to leave. Man. I think he'll probably go to Arsenal or somewhere like that, because he wants to play every week in, week out. And that's fair enough. I get it. You're not willing to fight for your place. And at Tottenham, now we've got money, and especially in our forward line, if you want to come to Tottenham, you're going to have to be able to earn your place. You don't get it outright. So, I would imagine that the Gabriel Jesus thing is going to go I think he's going to go to Arsenal.
Yeah.
But if he does come to Tottenham, that's cool. You got to fight for your place, and you'll be a worthy member of the squad. But I think at Arsenal he can walk straight into the team, and that probably makes sense.
Maybe Spurs putting in a bid, right, just to push the price up, so Arsenal has to pay more.
100%. That's what the
always part of it, isn't it? Yeah.
All right, super chat from the bottom dude. Thank you, mate. Sorry for your thank you for the patience. He says we should also look at Nahuel Molina. I don't know how you say his first name. Molina. If we are selling both Emerson and Doherty, this guy is the real deal, top scoring defender in Europe. I'll be honest. I'm going to hand this one over because I don't even know who he is.
He's the chap at Udinese. He's Argentinian, so he'd link up well with Romero. So yeah, he's a really exciting attacking player. Obviously, I think he got 7 goals this season, something like that. 7, 8, maybe, I can't remember exactly. But yes, it's definitely a forward-thinking player, and I'm always for that when he's talking about wing backs. Yeah, I'd be really happy with him. And like I said, when you've got the link up with Romero as well, and they can carry that onto the national team as well, they're going to enjoy that. Builds a little understanding between them, and it's good for both club and country that way. So I'll be really excited about this one as well. There are definitely people out there. There's no big deal about looking at City and Liverpool signing players and thinking he's gone. There's plenty out there to choose from. Yeah. That's what we need that scouting network for. Yeah. The way we've been doing over the last few seasons, though, you'd be better off looking at Football Manager.
Just give it to yourself. Just give it to yourself to bottom do it, and Jack, you'll do a good job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Pick up the bottom do it. Thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. That's it means the world to me. Have you guys got Eugene, Dave? Do you want to go much further on this on the bottom do super chat, or do you know much about him? I don't know anything about him.
Don't know anything about him.
I don't much.
All right. So
very quickly on Tony Rodriguez saying that we need squad depth. Keep that in mind. They're 5 subs next season, definitely. Yeah. But if we buy 5 for the first team, then what's in the first team can go onto the subs bench. So the knock-on effect, isn't it? So, but you're quite right. We have to think about depth.
2 last quick topics, guys, before we move on to the last topic of the evening, which is about Eric Dyer being omitted from the England squad and what Gareth Southgate's got to say on it. Ivan Perisic has yet again been linked today strongly with Tottenham. He's 33 years old, right? And don't get me wrong, an amazing player. an amazing career. I think he got the most man of the matches last season. I think he had one of the best assist ratios in Italy as well. I've got no doubts that this guy's still got enough in his legs at the moment. But is there are we swinging a little bit too much away from the one for the future to this ready for the now in a Perisic? He's not someone that we can if we sign him, you're going to get one season out of him, absolute tops 2. And if Conte is absolutely certain that he's the guy that he wants, right? If it's not Kostic, if it's Perisic, is there something that we can read into what that means for Conte's future? If Conte's only thinking about next season and next season alone, and that Perisic will do for next season, but he's not going to do for the season after or for the next 2 or 3 years, does that tell us that Conte is at best going to stay for one more year? And that's an open question, in terms of what does it mean for Perisic? Do you like him? Do you want him? And is he going to? What does that mean for Conte? And I'll come to Dave on this one first.
Yeah, look, for me, I think with Perisic, right, I do understand what you're saying, Sean. But bringing in a guy like Perisic, you look what Liverpool done when they brought in Milner. Before they brought in, they were picking up players from Southampton and stuff like that. And then they bring in Milner. And what a player like that does, Sean, is it's they bring in the standards. They show people how to be professional on and off the field, because you don't get to that age at the top of the game without doing your best behind the scenes, day in, day out in the training ground and around the training pitch, plus playing matches. And then what it does, it says, well, if he's 33 and he's doing that, then there's no excuse for me not doing that. Yeah. Plus, he can also help. He understands Conte. He understands what he likes and stuff like that. So it can also help Conte, in the dressing room, in terms of speaking to players, coming in and saying, look, this is the reason why you're out the team. I've worked with this guy for years. This is what you need to do if you want to stay and play underneath someone like Antonio Conte. So he can help him out in the dressing room. But what he can also do is he can also show people the standards that Conte requires around the place, or from a human being. And I think, look, that's what we've been missing at Tottenham, I think, is someone with that sort of experience that has won things, that can help implement it. And I think, look, what the likes of a James Milner has done for the likes of that Liverpool squad, I think we do need 1 or 2 players like that can really help with this Tottenham squad, in my opinion, in terms of going forward. Plus, there's nothing to say he'd be playing week in, week out. But the likes of them games against the teams that we struggled this season, we've seen them 10 a penny. He can help in games, whether it's starting, whether it's off the bench. He can also help if you want to put a mixed squad out in the likes of the cups. He can be that experienced head. He's the one that can turn around, speak to players, tell them what they need to do, help get them through the game. Experience, I think, will his experience will be absolutely massive.
It's worth its weight in gold. Yeah. Okay. And then someone like Sessegnon obviously can learn from him, I guess, right?
Yeah, there's so many people that can learn from Sessegnon. Can learn easy things, how to recover after games, how to eat right, how to train right. The way to be in and around the training ground, how to be as a person. That sort of experience, you can help develop people so much. And when you help develop people so much, you get that knock-on effect that you were looking for. It gets the best out of them. They will want to get the best out of them. They see themselves having no excuses whatsoever if a guy at that age is doing it and still continues to do it. Experience can be absolutely invaluable. I have no doubt you ask a lot of them Liverpool players, have they learned off the likes of James Milner? Even simple things.
How old was James Milner, though, when he joined Liverpool?
He was 30 odd. He's well in his 30s, lad.
Yeah.
He was finished at City. He was like 32, 33 or something like that. He was more or less done at City and signed for Liverpool on a free. But I can guarantee you, some of them Liverpool players have gone to him. How do you handle big games? How do you handle the pressure on big occasions? Yeah. There's so much wealth of knowledge you can draw off there.
You make a great argument. Eugene, I'll come to you on this one, mate. How do you feel about it?
I think that if he's on a free, right? If I'm not mistaken, he's just paying his wages, right? If you can bring in Kostic and Perisic, that'll be a good thing since we got the money, right? And for what Dave has been saying, right? Not only for Milner, look at what Liverpool did with Thiago. Thiago is like 36 when he came in.
Yeah, he's a beast. That
Yeah.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a beast, right? And the thing is that sometimes it's just not about. That's why I
Maybe,
said,
maybe 33 is the like maybe that's the new
Yeah.
28, 29. You know, with his
yeah.
with current fitness regimes and things. Maybe
Yeah.
you know.
But the thing is that, like I said, professionalism, how to look after your body, right? The mental part of it, right? Then you can teach the younger players around you to follow you and to continue that. And you're saying that maybe bring him for 1 year, maybe he could stay for 2 years, right? And the most important thing, if Conte wants him and Conte has a plan for him for the future, right?
Course,
for the
yeah.
development of the club and the players that we have in there. Don't forget, Kane and Sonny is not getting any younger either, right? So you're talking about players like that you have that kind of value, then we have to grab them. At the moment, we want to win things, right? We don't want to build.
Yeah, you're right. We have to win something next season.
Yeah.
If we don't win something next season, the wheels could fall off. Right, next season so important.
Yeah. So that's why,
would you rather have Kostic or sorry, Eugene? Sorry, you hadn't finished. Sorry, mate. I thought you finished.
I mean, Kostic and Perisic, both of them, take them. if I was,
You'd have both. You'd have both.
You could put Perisic where Son plays if you needed to put Son up front.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. All right, Kuba, would you rather have Kostic or Perisic playing left wing back next season?
Happy with either. Possibly Perisic.
Wow.
Fantastic players, but I'm not bothered about the age of players. When you're looking at that kind of quality, get them into the squad. Get some of our other squad players used to playing day in, day out with these sort of quality players. It improves their game. It builds a bit of different atmosphere at the club when we've got actual top quality, world renowned players in there on all these positions. I like Sessegnon. I think he's got a bright future ahead of him if he can stay fit, but he's not in that level yet. He might develop into it, and if there's the likes of Perisic for him to model his game on and see what happens when he's playing, he's going to improve. It's about getting these players through the door. We've got to stop looking at budget players and looking at sheer quality to bring in and improve the players we have already. So Perisic, I don't care about the age. Just get them in. Even if one season out of them, look what it can do for a team. Look what happens when Jurgen Klinsmann comes into our team. Massive boost to the club. So just get a few of these players in, that really experienced ones that, anyone around the world knows who these players are. That's the sort of level we've got to be looking at. Yeah. Bring some of them in, then you bring in your promising youngsters to go with it. It's what Liverpool always used to do when they had that long period of success in the 70s, 80s. They'd buy a couple of seasoned professionals each season, and they'd buy a promising youngster. And they did that every season without fail, and it served them so well. We need to be doing that kind of thing. Trouble is, we've got to rebuild from a much further back point at the moment, so we've got to bring in more and quickly. So if they've got a bit of age on their legs, then so be it. Just bring them in anyway.
And to add to just quickly to Kuva's point there about how much of a rebuild we have to have. Every signing, it's important that you not only getting a quality player, but a quality human being. Conte won't work with dickheads. We've seen that with Ali Lo Celso, Ronald McDombele. He will not work with these guys. And with Perisic, Conte already knows that he's a good human being. So, probably puts him to the top of the list because the personnel has to be right. We've seen the effects of United bringing in players and stuff like that, and it not quite being right for the dressing room. That's also very, very important that the personnel is right.
Yeah, 100%. Just looking through the comments here, it's a split decision. A lot of people saying they want Kostic over Perisic, but a lot of people saying Perisic over Kostic, actually. So I'm not sure. It's a bit of a tie. Paul Markey. Sorry, Dave.
Get both.
Well, but then what happens? But then what happens to Sessegnon?
So you have the flexibility here, though, Shawnee, because Sessegnon was originally a left wing. Perisic can play a left wing. So if you bring in Kostic and Real Madrid does activate the Reguilon buyback clause, you have two players that can play a left wing in terms of Sonny if he's injured or gets moved into striker, and they can all play left wing back as well.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. Utility.
Yeah,
too much football manager at all these positions.
Yeah, quite right to add all that as well, David. I think it might have been Bill Shankly as well. One quoted. My memory's going a little bit now, but he said something along the lines of, "Give me 11 players who hate losing, and I'll give you the title."
Yeah.
We need
Yeah,
Conte's the same style. He wants that mentality.
Yeah, I love it. Super chat from Paul Markey. Thank you so much, Paul. That means the world, my friend. He says Romano is talking fresh links to Traore. We don't need that buffoon.
It's okay. We'll be linked with him until the.
It's amazing. It is amazing. Only a few months ago, back in January, there was fucking limbs everywhere. People were going mad. We didn't
get him in. Get him in. Why are we getting it done?
Nobody wants him.
That's what happens when you change, when you go up a level. Like, this is the same thing I feel about Gareth Bale.
It's not going to happen anyway. It's not going to happen. We're at a point now, and I said this back in January, where we're bringing in quality over quantity. We don't need to bring in a Traore. We have to, you have to identify the right player. It's all about quality now, and we're going on that route. We've already seen it with Paratici in January, bringing in Kuzeski and Abencourt. You know, it's quality over quantity now. I wouldn't personally read too much into them rumors.
If we sign him again, we might as well get the shirt sponsor like Daily Dose of Internet or something. The bloke's meme, isn't he?
In the nose. They're sponsored by Tottenham. Guys, I just realised that I haven't laughed throughout. This has been the most serious Tottenham show that's ever happened to Spurs Talk Show.
I apologise to everybody for that.
It's my fault. It started with bloody annual leave coming out with some positive news, and you have to put on your game face to get the news done. This is what usually happens on Spurs Talk Show. It's usually banter alongside, hopefully, interesting content. But I've just realised I hadn't actually laughed out loud for about an hour and a half.
Because we had snarling, angry, and meth on. That's why.
No, I love Ian. He's gonna invite that man.
Yeah, he's a lovely guy.
He's a great guy. Yeah. But Paul Markey, man, thank you so much for the comment. I agree with Dave. I agree with Coover as well. And I'm guessing I agree with Eugene that
we've been linked with him since last summer. So
we'll be linked
with him until 2025, right? We'll still be linked with him.
But with a caveat, if Conte wants him.
Yeah, but we're okay with it.
We're all going to be okay with it. But right now, until we know that Conte wants him, Conte's still in Sicily or wherever he is on his holiday. And
I just simply cannot believe he'd want him.
Nah, I don't think anymore.
It's the
same with Gareth Bale. This is the point I was going to make. Gareth Bale, the links are still being spread around saying that Tottenham are still, we agreed this deal. I can't imagine that Gareth Bale is anything like, is anywhere near. If he has agreed to come back, listen, I'll be happy to have him back because I love the guy. But
for Gareth Bale, right? Wales have to make the World Cup first. Yeah. Then maybe we'll bring him back.
Yeah,
if he doesn't, then
even then though, it took him 6 months to get fit for last season.
It took him 6 months to get fit for the Euros, not for Spurs.
Yeah, no, exactly. 100%.
Bale would be better at football than Traore while he's playing golf.
All right, guys, listen, we're going to move on. I just want to have a quick one-word answer because there's two stories before we get on to, or there's three stories before we get on to the Eric Dyer thing to finish up. One-word answer. Forster, looks like he's done. Looks like he's signed. Are you happy? Eugene, yes or no? Are you happy with him as a backup goalkeeper?
Forster, Southampton
guy, ex-Celtic.
Yeah, I
6'7".
He saved a lot of goals. Remember, while we were when they were 10 down. I mean, he's a big guy, right? More or less a good shot stopper. I guess he would be a good fit to be a stopgap while we look for someone to replace Lloris for the time being. But
so
honestly, I'd rather have Nick Pope. Right, since Burnley is going down, right, and have Nick Pope in just in case that if
I don't think Nick Pope wouldn't want to come and play backup. He's
that's right. That's the only thing. Nick Pope doesn't want to come play backup. If he did, it would be wonderful, right? Yeah. So I guess stopgap for the time being, better than Galini, right? Oh, that's something I would say. Right.
Okay, Kuba, quickly, we'll move on. Quick, yes or no?
Yes.
Dave, yes or no?
Just quickly, yes, better shot stopper than Galini, and he'll help us out from corners as well. The height of fucker should be a basketball player.
Okay.
Galini stops shots.
Next one.
He's a goalkeeper or something.
Next story. Jack Harrison from Leeds. Andrea
No.
Pirlo recommended Harrison to Paratici. Pirlo and him played together with him. I think it was in New York City in the Major League Soccer. It might not have been New York, but it was somewhere over in MLS before Pirlo became Juventus boss under Paratici. Jack Harrison.
No.
Is he someone you want? Yes or no?
No.
No. I really rate him, but he doesn't fit. He's not quite what we need there.
Okay, and lastly, Thomas Souček, named as another potential summer target for Tottenham. This story's been going around for the last couple of months. This is football.com. I've got the link out. It's not worth even getting up. Great player, wonderful player. West Ham only bought him last season, I think, for like 35 million. Do you see anything to that story? Yes or no?
I would like him, but West Ham won't sell to us.
Yeah.
Okay. Eugen, same.
Yeah, same.
Kuba, same.
No, wouldn't have him at all.
Okay. All right. Last but by no means least, ladies and gentlemen, Eric Dyer has been left out once again from the English setup, and we've got Gareth Southgate's justification. I agree, and I quote, I agree, Eric has played very well for Spurs, but we know Eric. We don't know some of these youngsters, so we felt these are good matches to find out more about them. Eric is obviously playing in the middle of a three. It's a very specific position he's playing in, and the team have been excellent at the end of the season. So we may well play with the three, but we also may well play with the four. We've got to cover to each of those things over the next few weeks, but he's definitely in our thinking. But at this moment, we can't give everybody time on the pitch that we'd like to, and we felt that investment in time in Fikayo, Mark, and Ben White in particular, those younger ones ahead of Eric for this camp would be more valuable to us. Former Spurs and England defender Ledley King has backed Dyer to be in the squad in an exclusive interview with Football London. He said, I think Eric's been as good as any in terms of his consistency this season, in terms of his communication and trying to help others. That's something that's really stood out. I'm sure he's the vocal leader in the back of the Spurs defence. And I think he'd be really unlucky to miss out on the next England squad. In my eyes, he's done enough for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, what do we do with this? Eric Dyer been left out of the Europa Nations or whatever it's called. Gareth Southgate justifying it, saying we know how good he is, but he plays in a three, we play in a four. We've got to figure out what Ben White et al. Is like. Kuva, I'll come to you first on this one. Is it just another slap in the face to Eric Dyer, or is there a justification to that decision?
I think he's just simply one of a big batch of current England centre-backs that aren't particularly good, unfortunately. He's done well for himself this season, but he's not a world beater or anything, is he? So it could have been him left out. It could have been somebody else, just a bit random luck, really.
Okay, Dave?
Sean, I think, I'm going to say I think it's justified leaving him out, to be honest with you. All season long, he's made mistake after mistake. Look, I get he's had a good season in terms of the standards that Eric Dyer set himself from the previous campaign. Well, I've said this before, my granny could have done better this season than the standards Dyer set at the previous campaign last season. It's just he gives away the ball too often, Sean, way too often, and you can't do that going into international competitions. You will be punished like that, especially against some of the bigger nations. When he's put under pressure, he panics. We've seen it against Norwich. We're in a good position. What does he do? Kick the ball straight back to him, and it's in such a position where they just run out of goal, have a shot. He's been turning his back on shots this season, time and time and time again. I can understand Southgate going with the youngsters. If he is not head and shoulders above them, then why would you go with him? For him, he has to be head and shoulders above them. He has to be standout. He himself has to make England say, hang on, you can't leave this guy out. But you've been able to. Even some of the best games we've played this season, people say Dyer's had a good game. He's had fuck all to do in half of them games that we've gone on and won. But when he has been tested, he hasn't exactly stood up to it. He's been beat in the air a lot of times this season. Look at the size of the guy. Look, he is so overrated. I've been saying this. And for me, I'll be very surprised if he gets anywhere near that England team. And I think it's justified.
That's
Yeah.
very harsh.
Yeah.
Harsh. Sorry, not harsh. Very frank. A frank review
it's a realistic thing, you see, because he doesn't fit into the England setup the way they play, right? We've seen Dyer playing in the back four.
Yeah. He's terrible in the back.
Right.
He's even worse
He's
in the back.
terrible in the back four,
Yeah.
right? So will Southgate take the risk? Right? I don't think so. So if
would you have him? Would you have Harry Maguire over Eric Dyer
in the back four?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Maguire's proved himself in the English team for a lot of time. So that's the part that you can't beat Maguire over Dyer.
But if you were to look at Harry Maguire's season in the Man United shirt over Eric Dyer, you'd say Eric Dyer's had a better season. Of course,
I mean, yeah,
right? But Eric Dyer hasn't really been tested in the England squad because he's never really had that much of a chance. I don't know. I'll take your point. Yeah. Sorry, you.
Yeah. But the thing is that you're talking the system that you've been played in, right? You see, unless let's say it goes into next year's World Cup. I mean, end of this year's World Cup, right? And Dyer's performing still the same way and he's improving every match. And maybe Southgate thinks that he'll bring Dyer in just in case he wants to change tactics and play into a back three, and he can put Dyer there to play against certain teams. But at the moment now, he's playing on the back four, and he can't fit in the back four, right? And you're going to games for the Nations League. And there's a cup there for England to win. You get what I'm saying? So you're going for a cup and you're playing against Germany. Guys, Germany, one of the teams, right? I know Germany's not been that good this past.
Who would you rather have, Eric Dyer or Harry Maguire?
That's true.
Don't know.
And Maguire played against Germany. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. I hear what you're saying. But Harry Maguire's been useless. The argument that Eric Dyer's
but the whole MU team has been useless this whole season.
Yeah, true.
Look at Varane.
If you go back and break down a lot of the goals that we've conceded this season, which myself and Jack have done, a lot of it does come from Eric Dyer.
Yeah. He made some silly mistakes even in the start of the Norwich game. I remember, Dave, you were calling him an idiot.
Look what he done against Brighton. Look what he done against Brighton. He turns his back on the ball like someone jumped into the pool and fucking there's water coming out.
It's like he's a little bit afraid of getting the ball smashed into his face because he's got his arms behind his back.
Look what Ben Davies did, right? Against Norwich. He stood there and took it in the...
Yeah.
Romero does it all the time.
And Dyer would have turned his back.
Dyer on the run in alone. United stood off Ronaldo. Should have went out and put his body in the shot, didn't. Turned his back on the shot against Leicester and opened up the goal for the Leicester player to put it in. The Brighton goal, same thing. Against Norwich, nearly cost us. Against Brentford, a couple of times, nearly cost us. And I get people are saying he's a leader. Go back to the Brentford game. 3 set pieces, the exact same routine within the space of 45 minutes. And it's less than that. It's probably 20 minutes, all in the first half. A leader doesn't allow that to happen a second time, let alone a bloody third time. How many times have balls been coming into the box and him and Ben Davies are marking each other? Emerson or Romero being left with 2 people at the back post. A leader doesn't allow that to happen. It's simple communication. It's simple awareness. It's just talking to your players. It's all it is. He doesn't have that sort of attributes to be able to carry a team. Look, any title, any team that goes on to win trophies will not include Eric Dyer. Now, in the past, or in the future.
I think you've also got to look at we're not in a golden era of English centre backs anymore. Just a few years back, there was John Terry, there was Rio Ferdinand,
Jonathan Woodgate,
Ledley King, Woodgate, even Judas. Despite the fact that
Sol Campbell
was still up there.
We haven't got. We're pretty scraping the barrel right now.
England got shitty.
So Dyer being left out, no big deal. Could have been any of them.
All right. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, there's still 113 people in the house. If you haven't already, please hit the like button to get us over 100, and also please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell for future. But thank you so much, all of you for joining us. We got to get to the shout outs. Eugene, I've put your let me do it again. I've got your channel. Tell us where everyone can find you, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us. What can everyone find on your channel?
Yep. Thanks for having me on, Sean. Right.
You're welcome, mate. You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
And of course, I have to say this. Right. Big up to the first Asian Golden Boot winner, Son Heung-min. Proud to be Asian.
Proud to have
Of
him as
course,
a
you can find me on
Spurs
Spurs Asian TV, on YouTube, right? But nowadays, since the season's over and I've been busy at work, I'll do shows when I feel like doing shows. Guys, but thanks for your support, right? And
it's a great channel, guys. It's a great channel. Make sure everyone just hit the link, right? It doesn't take you away from the stream. Just open up another tab and just go and show some love to the guys that have given up their time tonight on the show. Eugene's channel's fantastic. I've been on it loads of times. I absolutely love the guys over there. Make sure you please go and hook that one up for him. Irish Hotspur, Dave, I know we're going to jump over to your channel very shortly. So, but before we do the raid, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, you can find me over at the Irish Hotspur. Just click the link in the chat there, bring you straight over. Yeah, we're going live at 8:30. We'll be breaking down the whole statement with Sean and Marcelo, or not Sean and Marcelo, sorry, Sean and Matt Hayes. We'll be talking about that, what it means for Tottenham going forward. Does it change our transfer targets, etc., etc.? You know, are we now in prime position because we're taking advantage of maybe Barcelona, Real Madrid, Chelsea, etc.? So we've a lot going on there, and plus transfer streams right throughout the summer on all things Tottenham Hotspur, transfers, you name it. Plus we've got season reviews, season player ratings, etc., etc. coming up. Awesome. And Kuva, I always give you the chance to plug two of your favorite channels. Although I heard the other day, yesterday, I heard you on a stream when you were given the option to plug channels, and you plugged about 7, but you never plugged this one. So I'm a little bit heartbroken by that. It's he said, I'm just going to call you out on it on live on air.
No,
anyone's channel he hasn't plugged, get onto Kuva so we give him a list of plug every time.
Yeah, the bollocks to your smelly channel, Sean. Yeah.
On that case, we're going to leave it right here, ladies and gentlemen. Go on, Kuva, who do you want to plug?
Always talk about Shelfside Spurs and Bob Spur TV and Mari's Love Lounge, because they're the three that have the most degree of silliness on them, and that's what I enjoy the most, I must admit. If you want to come to proper football shows, right, some more sensible shows than it's like David on the Irish Hotspur, always been a go-to. He is the chap that's got me into streaming in the first place, convincing me to come onto his channel one time. So always grateful for that. Him and Jack do a great job. Eugene, I always love the channel there. It's just got a different kind of twist to everything, different viewpoints. It's lovely to have so many mad supporters of Sonny on the channel, and the Asian influencer in the team, from all the people we've come to meet in the fans channels, just because of the fact Sonny's over here has been great. And I just love the support coming over from the overseas. The rest of it, just go around to the channels you like, and the small little channels with lacking some numbers, just give them a little like and a subscribe, because people thrive on it.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, so you've got Murray's Love Lounge, you've got Bob Spur TV, and you have Shelfside Spurs. But just also, I'm going to throw one in as well, just quickly, because I've got to give an absolute massive shout out to Bobby K. Bobby K has got his kids' channel, 3 Spurs Boys, going really quickly. And apparently, this afternoon, I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but apparently, you had Ali Gold. He's gone out there and he's just figured out Twitter, and he's gone out there and made introductions to Tottenham's biggest journalist. Yeah. Already got the guy on the show. It's insane. So get on there over to the 3 Spurs Boys as well. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. I hope this wasn't the funnest and the funniest of shows that we would usually do, but we had to take a little bit of time to be serious. I hope I didn't bore any of you earlier on with the financial breakdown. I hope it was a little bit interesting, a little bit engaging, and a little bit educational. But if not, I'll try better. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by. Quick shout outs to the guys who contributed to the channel. The Americanca, thank you so much for your big one for right at the very start of the show. Paul Markey for the super chat. The Bottom Duter as well. And of course, my big mate, one of my greatest mates, the Coffee Company host, Ben Kaufman, for being the latest member of the Spurs Talk Show community. The Spurs Talk Show ponies is what we're going to call them. And if anyone else wants to join them, you can as well. Hit the membership button. We're going to take this channel on levels as we go through the summer. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it from us. Over to the Spurs Talk Show. Over to the Irish Hotspur. in 8 minutes' time for the next show. Thank you, Eugene. Thank you, Dave.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Kuba. Thank you to
Thank you,
everyone in the
guys.
chat. And as always, guys,
Levy out.
oh!
High contact.